Hey, hello everybody, this is Purge, and I'm doing a replay coaching today. This is signed up for by Lion. Let me give you some details about him. He played, this is going to be 3 Lion games actually, so it'll be interesting to hopefully look at all across these 3 things and see the differences between the 3. Maybe we won't see very much progression, but I think one thing that we can really focus on is adjusting to the game specifically. I would say looking at this game, it's a really good Lion game actually. Lion's very good against, I would argue, decent against Skywrath, very good against AM, and very good against Slark as well. If you initiate first, pretty good against Sanking too. So let me just find some comments here about him. He says he's about 3.3k MMR. Wants to make sure his early game's not too full of brain farts. Early games, mid games, all line games. We're wondering about Yules into Ag's itemization. That's a different game. And I guess that's about it. Everything is pretty straightforward in terms of his comments about the video. So let's hop in and watch them. So line support is quite strong in my opinion. I love his starting items. I think these are really good. Gives a little bit of everything. Wards for his allies. So let me just check to see if he was the one that actually bought Observer Ward or the Courier. This was actually him buying this. So this is pretty expensive. I'm surprised he was able to afford all this. I guess he only has 1 clarity. I don't think he randomed or anything. But I like his starting item builds a lot. 2 sets of regen, 1 clarity to help his mana pool. He bought Observer Wards for his offlane hero and himself. And he's got a smoke as well, so I'm pretty happy with this. I like the Earth Spike pickup at start, that's really good. I think this is the better of the 2 skills almost always, just because, if, for example, if you can look at the lanes right now and he can tell that he's a solo support, basically, supporting a carry. So Ricky's going to be farming here, I guess. Looked like Ricky kind of wanted to farm, but I think they got a little confused. In fact, they actually put 2 carries in the offlane, which is really not good. This should actually be Wraith King in the top lane. I think the Wraith King made this mistake, whereas Ricky's items are clearly, he's playing support here. But I don't think Wraith King realized, because he probably isn't in the meta. So with that said, Lion is essentially a solo support in a dual lane here, which means that he should be spending his time zoning. So the fact that he grabbed Earth Spike is good. Hex is usually better for gank, because it's 2.5 seconds to disable, which should be an extra right click or 2. Which kind of offsets the lower stun duration, but if you're trying to zone somebody, Earth Spike is far better, just because it does damage and it also disables. So what I would like the Lion to do, now one big mistake he's making already is that he's harassing within the creep wave, and this is already making things tough, and that's because when you're harassing in the creep wave, you're going to aggro things. So right when he right clicks Sanking here, look at that, 3 creeps instantly aggro to him, and that's because every creep has like a 500 range aggro, it's somewhere around this. So if he right-clicks an enemy here within this, then the creeps will hit him, which means that even though he does get a free hit onto the Sand King, it means that he's also going to take a bunch of damage to creeps. See how much damage he just took there? He took about 30, 70 damage just from creep right-clicks, and he's easily not offsetting how much he's taking. And now, when Sand King finally decides to go in, he's getting attacked by creeps this whole time, and by Sand King. So when you're trying to zone an offlane here, the most important thing is that you stand in a better position. So, for example, if Sand King's here, and Ricky's here last sitting, the place that Lion should be running is he should run past the creep wave and then right-click him. So it's kind of hard sometimes. If the offlaner's good, he would, for example, trade hits with you as you're approaching through the creep wave, because he knows that if you ever right-click him during that your creeps will start attacking him. So he has this positional and creep advantage, because really zoning a person is all about how much HP regen you're trading for theirs. And because he only has 1 tango, the Lion should be able to take this advantage, especially because he's a ranged hero. So what you have to do is you either have to swing around wide from the creeps, or what you can do is prepare as the creep waves meet that you're already standing over here, and that allows you to just easily swing around behind and approach the offlaner. That way when you're right-clicking them, it's just you and him. And then from there it's a lot easier to control your situation. And they do still get a kill here, which is really good, but that was quite dangerous considering the circumstance. I feel like if you didn't have a Ricky with Orb of Venom and Cloak and Dagger, you wouldn't have been able to get that kill, and you would have lost a lot of HP in that. I do like that you went to salve immediately. Also, you went to pull as soon as the, unfortunately, just slight mistake there, but you know, it's not the worst. It's okay when you make little mistakes like this sometimes. I still like the purpose of it. You immediately went back to pull, and you could also come over here to try to zone, but I think you're also making the right move here, just to pull, because this creep wave is already out of control. It's got 3 range creeps. He's gonna get these unless you do a side pull here, but it's too late to stack. So maybe what you could have done hypothetically is stack at 53. I know that's something that Fluff recommends, because then this is a double camp and it always controls the wave. Whereas if you go back to do a single pull and a pull through like you were doing, The problem is that these creeps are still going to make it to Sand King, and he's still going to get the experience for it. So that's one of the major benefits of just stacking this at 53 no matter what, because then no matter how out of control your wave goes, you can always get it denied before it gets to the tower, which is the important thing. Always keep the creeps dead in the jungle or in the lane rather than by the tower. So this will be good for your experience, but stacking that wave is maybe something that I should advocate for a lot more often, similar to what Fluff says. The only downside to that method is that it'll cost the supports less experience, but I think if you're in a dual lane scenario, I really think that's probably the best situation to be in, even if you do get kills. So these creeps will all be denied now, and he should be able to get experience. It's going to be a little hard. I probably would have thrown a nuke here. It's okay that he didn't, but I maybe would have thrown a nuke there just to hopefully kill off this wave. But to be honest, zoning this guy's better. He should be using a Tango right now, but he's actually doing a pretty good job. This is a really good usage of his hero. Now Sand King is level 3 just about. It's from all those range creeps. He also could have stacked this. You're a little bit late on that, but either way, you still are zoning the Sand King, which is great. And even if he's hitting you like this is totally cool. Small mistake there is that after you're stunned, your hero's ready to attack. So rather than stunning it and then attacking, I recommend you right click first and then stun, because that's going to maximize your damage. If you want to maximize your damage, and you know that they're not going to get away before you cast your spell, you should always attack, then cast your spell, then attack again. If you cast your spell first, you're already one attack behind where you could be. Still zoning, which is good. Creep equilibrium super messed up because your ally messed up, and now also because you didn't stack that camp before, now you're only getting really just one large camp pull, which means this wave is probably, luckily they're trolls, but right now this does normal damage. It doesn't do the piercing that it used to do, so that means that the Dark Troll is actually worse at killing neutrals than it used to be in the past. He does spawn skeletons though, and these do the same damage as a melee creep, so this is not bad at all for you. So this is good. You actually did get the creep wave denied, which is awesome. You need to work on your last hitting just a little bit, but as a whole, I think your skill build's great. I think your position has been pretty darn good. I definitely would have hexed in this case. That would have been much better here. If you're approaching from the side like that, especially if your Ricky is a little mobile and has decent damage, what you're really worried about is either him burrow striking like he did, and you still got the damage, which was pretty nice, but in a lot of cases there, you might just miss the Earth Spike. Like maybe by the time you start your Earth Spike, he instantly burrow strikes and he just dodges it. That could happen. So because you were close enough, it happened to catch him, but there was honestly a real chance that didn't even catch. Instead, if you hex him first, you guarantee 2.5 seconds of disable, then Ricky's going to blink strike, then Ricky's going to put down smoke screen that lasts for 6 seconds, and then as soon as your hex ends, you can Earth Spike. That was actually a dead hero there if you hexed first. But because his burrow strike gave him position change, then he lives. In fact, I think you still could have killed him. Let me look at this again, because everything I just said can still happen even with him getting some distance here. Like right now, Ricky could have blink striked, you could have right clicked and hexed him, guaranteed. In fact, I think Ricky definitely should have. So I think you guys still could have gotten that kill. And that's something that you need to look at. Just look at the pieces that you have in the lane and figure out just what it's going to take to get a kill. And the reality is that you can very, very easily get a kill with the heroes that you have. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of you solo pulling here since the large camp isn't there, but I don't... Okay, it actually is there now because it respawned. Cool. Alright, good. Looks like you're pulling through. Perfect. Okay, small mistake here. Let's look at this again. So this is one of the ways that you need to salvage a pull. You pulled a little bit late. Usually I would have pulled like a second earlier than this. So when you're pulling late, and if this dies too early, what you need to do is you basically need to aggro a right click attack. So the longest position that these creeps usually run, especially if they're melees, is somewhere around here, which means that what you can do is you can stand here where you're standing, wait until the creeps come up to you, and as they're starting their animation, you can start walking a little bit. And you won't get too far, but what it does is when a creep attacks you and your hero, it'll do the same thing as what happened over here with you aggroing creeps to the Sand King. When a neutral creep attacks an ally, it'll create an aggro AoE around you, and then any of your creeps that are in the area will then aggro to where that source came from. Because creeps are basically looking for anything to attack, and right now these 3 creeps have nothing more to attack, so all it will take is either them walking into a creep wave and aggroing just because they're naturally within range, or if something attacks you, it will aggro them to that place. So what you should do is stop right here, and this worked out, but it was a little iffy. You could have done the same thing by standing here and dragging it. That way, in some ways, it's like you're increasing the range of the aggro for the neutrals to grab your creeps. So it worked, but it was a little close and a little iffy, and I thought that you might miss it. So all you should have done is simply stopped here, let them start attacking you, and then you drag that just a little bit farther to get the circle of AoE closer to your creeps, and then you could have guaranteed it. And you did get it, which is fine, but it was a little iffy. And this is great as well. You're letting your neutral get denied. This is perfect. You did that really well. So Sand King's now up here. Again, same thing. This is basically what happened. Your Earth Spike misses, you could have hexed him first. Just hex first. If there's anybody that's survivable or can easily get away, that's always going to be the solution. I'm not a huge fan of a Ring of Regen pickup right at the start of the game, just because it's very expensive. It's 325 gold right now, and that instead could have been like, I don't know, an Observer Ward. You could put the Observer Ward in the safe lane to protect. I guess, this game you don't really need to protect your Riki because it's just a Riki. He's unlikely to get ganked that often, even if he does, he's pretty survivable. But personally, every game that I buy a Ring of Regen right here, like as my first purchase after Boots of Speed, I really regret it, honestly. I think it's very expensive. You'd maybe even be better to get like Ring of Protection and a Tango, honestly. You can use the Tango to cut down this tree more often, for example. There's probably other situations as well where you could get value out of your hero in another way. So, where's your hero right now? Oh, you smoked across to look for help. This is unfortunate. Oh, you're actually kind of in... Luckily your range creep moved. Oh, no. Your Tango would sure pay off right now, wouldn't it? Alright, let's see if you're lucky. Okay, that was good thinking there, hiding in that spot. Very close. I don't know if you clicked on this guy or not, but I had to click on him because I was curious how strong he was. I like that you're waiting around. I think this is fine. You just need him to show on the creep wave, and then you can easily go for a kill. Oh, definitely go for the Slark there. Definitely go for the Slark. Your Zeus is likely to be late anyways. All it's going to take is like one more nuke here. You definitely could have hexed him there, possibly. Whoa. Where did he go? He must have ran this way. Wow, he just got so juked. Let's watch this again. Okay. Wow. Alright, that was a sick juke. Anyways, I think you could have killed the Slark there. I know you didn't react super well, but as soon as you saw him again, I would have instantly gone for that guy. So you got your Tranquil Boots. Your levels are okay. You're trying to roam, it's not quite effective. But I think it's not terrible. Alright, definitely... Oh, okay, that worked. I actually didn't know that you could hit Slark through his invis like that. It's fine you didn't text there. You got level 5. I would probably transition back towards pressuring the top lane. In fact, I think this ward is a huge waste right now because it does check your rune spots, but what I would prefer you to do actually is to protect either the Riki or to pressure that lane. And I think the easiest way that you could do that actually is just walk over here. You can walk this way and place the ward up here this way. If you go here, the tower will spot you. So make sure you walk this way, place the ward here, and then you have perfect vision under the tower. And then if Riki pushes the wave up, then you can very easily just kill the Sand King because you can swing from behind. I think that's the better move to do. I personally think this ward is not very effective at this point in the game unless you're really expecting a lot of jungle invasion. That would be the only case in which I think it's valuable to actually have that ward there. It's just too late. Maybe they go to the rune spots a lot or something like that, but this is oops, looks like you messed up your camera a little bit. I also think showing on the creep wave there was a little contradictory. I think you're doing a pretty good job leveling up, honestly. I think you have very good support ideals. You're doing what you should be doing usually, but you're just slightly mismanaging your team fight decisions and your roaming. But your pulling is great. I'm really glad that you're pulling this much. I would absolutely be holding a TP as well. But yeah, you're kind of ditching the whole... like buying the Ring of Regen really set you back because now you're buying your first wards. I guess you bought this one probably, but you're kind of delaying your other items, like you're helping out your team items a bit. I feel like that's costing you slightly. I would probably push with your team. I don't know if... No, this is fine. If this many of your team is actually here, I think it's okay for you to show up. Hex first, perfect. Now let's check the time. You're a little early on the stun. Oh no. Okay, he still dies, but Magic Stick could have been you getting that kill safer. I think the only reason it didn't work is because you TP'd, which costs you 75 mana, so could have considered that. I'm really bad at doing that too, counting my mana before I go in, especially online, because he often needs all of his mana to do his full combo. This is fine. Slark's gonna leave though. Did Riki die? No, he's just pressuring bot lane within tower vision, which is kind of funny. Now you're going to the top lane. This would be a really easy kill if anybody TPs, so right now you should be asking someone on your team to TP, in my opinion. If you had more mana, actually, it'd be super easy. But you're kind of behind, honestly. You don't really have that much gold this game. You've got 3 assists, which is good, and you've done a good job pulling. You've got your levels at a reasonable time, but you're not quite effectively executing your ganks in your team fights, and that's making a big impact because, frankly, if you don't get kills occasionally as line, or you're not like doing a lot of ganks, then you're not going to super accelerate your gold. You're kind of trickling in your gold a little, in my opinion. Like I said, you pulled a little bit, that's good, and this would be a good time for you just to sit top and farm, because it's better for you to have blink. Unfortunately, Ricky's going to come back because he sees the exposed creep wave. But you're always kind of like reacting a little bit late to some of these things. Like Slark pushing, for example. That's cool that you came this way, but again, you still don't have mana. I would just go or absolutely don't chase this guy. I would have walked to the creep wave and just mana drained. Because you can't kill him even if you get close to him. If you have full mana, you can definitely kill him. If you catch him without him dark pacting. Oh, that's really unfortunate. You're still fine. Honestly, I would just get a magic stick at this point because you're definitely having some mana problems here. Don't be so scared of this guy as well. It's just a Slark. Check his items. You don't have to be scared of him yet. I know Slarks are really scary, but it's an early game Slark. Early game Slarks are completely dealable. You just have to be aware of when he's going to Dark Pact, and as soon as he finishes it, that's when you Earth Spike the ground. And then you're pretty much safe. And even here, you could have approached Hex right there. Definitely Hex. Always Hex. Always, 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 always. If you're ever disabling a guy that has escapes, if it's a Sand King, if it's a Slark, if it's a guy with a BKB, if it's an AM, you always Hex first. Instant disable. And then once you get it, and then you're sure that he's not going to Dark Pact, then you follow it up with your Earth Spike. Definitely don't go in now with the TP. This is getting too dangerous. So you're basically... Oh, okay, and this is also a mistake. Don't get too mana drain. I know that you've been too low on mana, but that's because you're not using the skill properly. It's not because your mana pool is not enough. You always want this maxed out. The stun duration, the damage increase, all of this is worth it. It does increase your mana cost, apparently, but... which is in some ways negative, but I think you're going about this game the wrong way. Like, you're playing support the correct way, in my opinion, and you're pulling a lot, and you're doing your best to zone, and you're roaming around, but you're not quite doing the hard-hitting support stuff that you need to do to push you into, like, an absolute advantage. And the things that you have to do to do that are securing kills, utilizing your ultimate. I mean, you've been level 6 for, like, 4 minutes, and you haven't even cast your spell yet. And that's a huge mistake for Line. One of the big benefits of Line is that your ultimate does 600 magic damage at level 1. Laguna Blade for Lina does 450. So your Finger of Death is one of the best skills on the game, actually, as a level 6 ultimate. The downside is it's huge cooldown. So to utilize this properly, what you have to do is use the skill. It's on cooldown for 2 minutes 40 seconds, which is huge. You could have used this to get a kill, and it would be off cooldown right now, if you had actually correctly had your mana pool on the Anti-Mage, for example. So now you're kind of moving around the map. You're buying things like Wand and stuff like that is useful, but it's like kind of you're not going to catch up to the game in a fast way by going Magic Wand at this point. What you really need is a Blink Dagger, because once you get Blink Dagger, the whole game changes instantly. Anti-Mage has to worry about any time that you're 6, especially because he knows that you could instantly Blink Hex, stun him for another 2.6 seconds, which is a total of 5.1 seconds of disable, a huge amount of disable anywhere on the map, and then you can also throw a total of 860 magic damage on top of that. And if we count how much magic resistance he has, let's check out his spell resistance here. He has 44%, so you can do, I don't know, like 500 damage, a little bit less than that. Maybe like 450 to 500 magic damage to Anti-Mage with your full combo, which is about half of his HP. So basically, if any other hero there with a nuke or good right click is there, Anti-Mage dies if you guys stun stack. So as soon as you unlock this, the whole game changes, because then you become a ganking hero entirely. And that's why Line is so good against these heroes, because you're transitioning from a decently strong laner to a good roamer to a amazing ganker, like the best ganking support in the game. You are the hero that can easily shut down Slark all game and easily shut down Anti-Mage. But the problem is you have to hit that snowball, because if you don't hit it fast enough, it's going to completely impact the game in a different way, because by the time you finally get it, this guy's already going to have a Battle Fury, he's already going to be AFK jungling constantly, and then he's going to get a Manta, and then his survivability goes up, and he can split off of silences and things like that. Then the whole game kind of changes. So, and this is all kind of being delayed just because of the item build that you're going. Again, alright, first of all, you super stacked your disables. Huge mistake there. Let's click on Anti-Mage to check this. And again, always Hex first, always Hex first. You saw him coming. Okay, here comes the Hex. So the easiest way to check how early that was is basically to pause the game and you lost about, this is probably half a second of stun duration, considering it's 2.1, so this would be exactly half point. Yeah, so you're a little bit over half of stun that you overstack. So this basically means your Hex does less and your Earth Spike does less. And this again should have been maxed out. You guys do kill him, which is cool, but if he was more farmed this game or had a Vanguard first, he would have lived there for 100%. Also, Ricky really messed up. He should have been hitting from the back the whole time. I think you guys, there's a small chance you would have not gotten that kill if it was not for the Wraith King being in the area. But again, max out Earth Spike. You didn't need 2 mana drain to get that kill. You just have to be more cognizant of how much mana you have. And yeah, buying all these extra stats definitely help, but it shouldn't be a requirement. And it really just delays your Blink. Blink is by far the most important thing in line. If you're having a really good line game, you're getting your Blink somewhere between the 12-minute mark to the 20-minute mark, I would say, especially as a solo support like you are. I think somewhere in that range is pretty realistic. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch my line game that I just uploaded. I know the frames are really bad, but what you can do to get around that is you can play the YouTube video in your browser, just the audio, basically play it and let the audio play, and then sync up the time with an in-game replay with my player perspective, and then you can watch it at full FPS and still get all of the in-game stuff. But I got my Blink really fast that game, and then I constantly used it to set up ganks and kills. And you've got the right support principles down, but you're not quite utilizing your skills correctly. Your team fight sense and game sense is a little bit weak, and you are not, what was the third thing? You're not using your skills to get kills as soon as they're ready. And the Hex and Earthspike thing lost you at least 1 kill on the Sand King, possibly 2. Almost lost you the AM kill. And that could have been your kill. That could have been an extra 400 gold or something. So usually when I play a line, I kind of like to greed out, going from like Tranquil Boots to Blink. Sometimes I'll have Ironwood Branches to tide me over a bit, which is not a bad thing to do, honestly. If every game you play a line and you want to buy like 2 Ironwood Branches and just leave them in your inventory, I think that's completely fine. It's only 100 gold, and it gives you 24 more mana pool, which is huge. It gives you 40 more HP and 2 more right-click damage. That's really good, actually. I think a lot of heroes could definitely justify, especially in line, because his mana pool is so tight sometimes. That could definitely make the difference between you being able to cast your ultimate. So for example, oh my god, I've been paused this whole time. No wonder it's been taking so long. So Earthspike, here's 160, that's 125, so that's 285 plus 200, so that's 485 mana. So if you didn't have these two things, that's 36 less mana. I said 485, I believe. You'd be around the barrier where you can do a Blink or a TP to a lane and then full mana combo. So that's something to keep in mind in the future by being level 7. You definitely could have afforded it. This is really unfortunate you don't have more mana there. I guess it doesn't matter. All good. Alright, and then you max out Earthspike. I don't know if this is a misclick or not, but again, I really don't recommend the mana drain. I would be mana draining here 100%. Get your mana. If you don't have your ultimate off cooldown, you should always be above enough mana to cast both Hex and Earthspike. If you're against a Slark, sometimes it's important to be a little bit higher, just because he can drain your mana. He lowers your mana pool temporarily by reducing your int. So absolutely think that you should always make sure that you have these 2 spells minimum if you're in a position to dive. If you're not, then you shouldn't be waiting to dive, in my opinion. This is good. I like your movement. It looked like you maybe were in our Earthspike there. I would have hexed personally, or just not. He actually looked pretty dead, so I think that was okay to delay. And it looks like you are queued up on your Blink Dagger. I think your wand is coming now. Again, same thing. Your Earth Spiking, a little overkill. I guess it's kind of good because the cooldown is lower, but personally, if I see danger, I instantly hex, because it's so fast. It's absolutely so fast. This game looks pretty over though. I think Ricky should be able to snowball this. Zeus is doing well also, and honestly, you've done a good job as support. I think a big mistake with how you're doing this right now, it looks like you're AFK or something. But just to keep in mind, if your allies are pushing a tower like this, you actually don't want to be standing back here. I think you're playing your role a little bit wrong if this is what you're doing. The only difference is the fact that I like that you have a sentry and an observer ward down back here, because that should protect you against a potential Shadow Blade for the Slark. Slark is not even that close, but if he did, he should have Shadow Blade, honestly, right now. At 16 minutes, he should have it. So you having a sentry ward is really good, actually, because it protects against that. But if you did actually click on the hero and see how farmed he was, or make an estimation, you could probably guess that he doesn't have SP, in which case you shouldn't be standing here. The place you should be standing is over here usually. That's because if somebody comes to defend, if you're right here, you're never going to need a disable off because you have to get within hex range. If you're over here and he kind of plays around this area, then you can sometimes sneak around and get the Hex off and then guarantee another kill. So this positioning is good if there's an SB on Slark. It's bad positioning if you don't expect it. So same thing right there. You easily could have disabled the Slark or the Sand King, and again you did get your Earth Spike off. Again, you stacked your stuns. Got to be careful about that. If you're playing line, you absolutely cannot stack your stuns. We'll look at the stack duration again. Like, he just could have Burrow Striked, he would have been out of there. And right there, that was like halfway through your Earth Spike. Know your cooldowns, man. Know your durations. 2.6 seconds. The only hero this doesn't work on, and you might sometimes want to change it, is if you're playing against a guy that has an Oracle on his team that's about to Oracle team. That way you can follow up the disable. Or if you're against a Slark, that's the only time that you would spam multiple disables during the same cooldown. And the off chance that his Dark Pact will go through and you'd like to do damage or stun him immediately after it ends. That's the only time. Always lead Hex. It's pretty much, it's the same range as Earth Spike, except for the fact, I mean, Earth Spike goes longer if you ground target it. It actually, so for example, if this line is Earth Spiking towards this tree, it doesn't actually go that long. The distance that it actually goes is more like over here. It goes a little bit farther. So in some ways, Earth Spike does go farther, but the reality is that Hex is instant, and you don't want to and this has a travel time. Both things can be dodged, and it's a ground base. It's not a projectile, so it's not guaranteed to hit. And you guys are like actually owning this game, but your net worth is still not that amazing. In fact, you're very, very low. I would say this is a very low net worth. I think you should be more middle of the pack, because you should have been able to get more kills out of your roaming and stuff like that. I think your skill build here is good. You also picked up a raindrop, which is arguably useful. I like it against Slark. I like it against Skywrath Mage. It's pretty good against Sand King too. It definitely will keep you alive, and I know that you're playing solo support, so maybe you're thinking like, I'm solo support. I shouldn't be that farm. That's fine. But I think that you can be. Obviously, your last hitting needs some work here. Can't miss this many last hits. That's not okay. Let me show you how you should have done this wave. TP in. Alright, first thing you do. I would probably have walked around this way and then Earth Spike to hit all three. Or what you can do is right click the creeps, they'll run to you this way, back up a little bit, and then you can Earth Spike all the way through. And what that would allow you to do is then you could one shot every single range creep with a right click. And you could do this at a time where your Earth Spike would also last hit this creep. So even if the tower only attacks these three melee creeps, by the time he does, you should be able to right click each one of these range creeps one time, which is about 200 gold here. And instead, I think you got actually no last hits out of these 8 creeps, which is not okay. You should get minimum half of these. Yeah, you actually got 0. Guaranteed 400. Don't like force yourself to last hit against a tower. It's difficult. You're gonna miss some of them, and that's why I think it's fine. Well, that wasn't fine, but it's fine to miss some of those last hits. But what you should do is abuse your spells in a way that lets you know you're going to get them. If there's that many creeps, you know the tower is going to hit the melee creeps first. Is this your TP? No. You know that he's going to hit the melee creeps first. So pull him back, get the last hit on the melee creep with the Earth Spike, then right-click the ranges each. You're also really running aimlessly at this stage, and I feel like you don't really understand where you should be or where you should be roaming. So for example, you came here, you got the last hits, your Weaver's a dumbass, so he came here to farm it because he chooses to farm. I mean, he's a carrier or whatever, but his farm sucks anyways, whatever. Okay, so he wants to farm this. And now you're kind of thinking like, well, what the hell do I do now? So you run over, you buy TP, and you look on the map, and you say, oh, I should be somewhere. That's true. First mistake you made is that you ran next to the creep waves. So they know that you're there. If you did want to TP somewhere, you should have TP'd from darkness. And you're thinking about TPing here, you choose not to, you're a little bit late. And now you're pretty much running across the whole map. And I feel like that's a little... Okay, that was really good. I don't know if you expected that or not. Let me see. Okay, yeah, you could see it coming. That was good. Again, a little greedy to go Earth Spike first, but against a Doom, I think it's alright. I think that ward is actually a little bad. I would have not put this ward here, personally. I kind of like it because you can see the stacked Ancients, but with this many heroes dead and your team having a huge momentum, I think it's very likely that this tower dies, and looking over it actually has 27 HP. It's gonna die. So I would have preferred instead to put a ward up that gives me better vision around the next objectives, which is actually their tier 2, and also would have given more vision in this area, because if you control this area here, then you are gonna take this tier 2 for your team. You're gonna get it no matter what. So I would have preferred that your ward actually went over here instead, and then maybe you use your other ward to put it deep in their jungle. Okay, you already used both your wards, but I would have preferred, for example, rather than this one's actually really bad at almost all stages of the game. This one's only really good for Rosh control, in my opinion. If you're dire and you want to see them coming when you're Roshing, this ward's good. If you're Radiant and your jungle's being invaded a lot, this one's kind of good, but it's dewarded so often I just don't like it. I would rather you ward anywhere here. You could ward here. Sometimes this works, but it's still very greedy. Anywhere here is good. This spot is really good. You could put it anywhere here. You could put up here, that gets dewarded a lot though, but you could put a ward here or something. Any wards in like any of these areas that are a little unpredictable are much better than very, very common wards like these. So your warding needs to upgrade itself, because right now you're placing super obvious places, and they're also not very effective to what you should be protecting at. Your ward should always be placed in a place where you want them to be, to help your team do the next thing that you're going to do or the current issue. But because you're winning, that means you want to be aggressive with your wards. You want to see where they're walking to defend. You could even place the ward right here if you wanted. It's kind of hard because it's daytime. You'd have to walk to like here and then plant the ward here, or you could wait 20 seconds till night and then walk over here and put it like right in the lane. That way you can see who comes to defend top, or you can see who's coming to defend this, or you could wait 20 seconds, farm this creep for this wave for a little bit, and then rather than placing here, as soon as it hits nighttime, you walk down here and you put your ward right here. And then you see everybody that's coming to defend the tier 2 tower, and then you could easily kill them or set up on them once you get your blink dagger, for example. All these things are far better than this ward. This ward's useful, kind of. It's only basically good for seeing where people are passively farming, and then you're going to be able to kill them. But in reality, if you just ward here instead, or you ward here instead, and you see an anti-mage running this way, you know where he's going. Like, you could say, oh, our creep waves are like way up here. He's probably farming Ancients, or probably farming Large Camp. And then you just set up a smoke. You pop smoke with you and one other guy, and you run to the Ancients where you expect him to be. Your smoke pops, you blink high ground, and then you hex him. And then you have a dead anti-mage anyways. That's even without having this Observer ward. So I feel like when this tower is dead, this ward is not very good. I would prefer this one instead. Or if you want to be a little tricky, put it in the lane here, put it over here, put it over here. You can even put it right here if you want. I think those wards are a lot better. This one's too easily dewarded. So you definitely could increase your team's chances to win, even with this huge advantage, just by warding a little bit better. A solid mana drain. I think that was good. There's a creep wave pushing mid, but that's fine. You still don't have your blink dagger. We're 20 minutes in, and your team is wrecking. So I think this is a mistake. You did just spot Slark over here. Really, what you're not doing is you're not limiting your opponent's farm. The net worth of their two to three most farmed heroes are not that off of your teams. If you guys just have a couple bad fights, you easily lose this game. And you again bought wards, I think, or detection or something. But kind of the way that Lion should be played, if you're the solo support, is you should buy your Flying Courier upgrade, you should buy a couple wards. But from like the, I don't know, the 8 to 15 minute mark, you should be a little greedy. Buy a couple Observer wards, but not that many. Maybe buy a pair of Dust and just hold it in case you gank Sand King, for example. Or, you know, maybe buy a Sentry. I mean, I do kind of like that you bought Sentries. If your team is pushing, you got to buy a Sentry against Shadowblade heroes, but I think you can kind of get away with being a little greedy. Like if you didn't buy the infused raindrop, and if you didn't upgrade your whole magic wand, if you just didn't keep the stick, for example, didn't buy that, you'd have 400 more gold, you'd have blink dagger right now. And then once you get blink dagger, all of a sudden you start ganking people and you get way more gold. So the blink is important because it accelerates you. I'm not saying you should always buy it. You'd have to balance those support duties a little bit, but I think you could have balanced them a little better. So, for example, if you had a more aggressive ward, that would have been, I would have placed that ward right here instantly, because then you would have seen anti-mage potentially been there. But same thing, if you had warded more aggressively, again, you're only placing common spots. You got to stop doing this. As soon as you raise your MMR by like 500, everybody's going to just randomly deward you through luck. They'll just happen to find it, pretty much. I think the Zeus needs just to ulti. Why doesn't he just ulti? Okay, now they see him. Oh wow, he lived. So I'm not really sure. I don't like your positioning very much right now. I would have preferred you stand on the cliff down here. That way you can spot to see if somebody's approaching high ground, and then you could set up a disable since you have so many allies nearby. I guess it's unlikely that they would, but you advocating for ancienting, this isn't very worth it. And again, same problem as before. This guy gets away because you don't hex first. Use the power of Tranquil Boots to let you initiate. Instead, you're attacking like 100%. You would have killed this guy if you just hex first. Same cast range, instant cast animation. Like 100% you hex that guy. You hex him, he's dead. You stun him afterwards, he's dead. Instead he gets away, almost. He's gonna live. But look, now you had to use your Finger of Death, you felt like. You used Finger of Death, and you got him. But really, all you had to do was hex that guy, pretty much, and maybe Earth Spike, and he dies. So you wasted your ultimate there because you were forced to use another disable because your second one actually didn't hit. And now you're finally got Blink Dagger. But you are actually the least farmed hero on the entire map. And I'm a little surprised about that, considering that your support mechanics were good. and stuff like that. But I think what you're really missing right now is your mid-game movement. You are not moving very well. You're kind of just aimlessly running around the map. You're kind of just putting wards at common spots. You're not really thinking about why you're doing it, and you're not predicting where your opponents are going to be, and you're not organizing anything. You're completely reacting to how your opponents are playing, but you're not doing it in a proactive way. The way that you could be proactive is say, Anti-Mage just got his Battle Fury. He's going to try to farm Manta or Vlad's or something, so he's going to be in jungle camp. So what you should be doing is putting wards in a place that's going to spot which jungle he's in. So for example, if you put a ward here, and you see Anti-Mage just strolling through the lane, he blinks, and then he's running this way. You know that he's going into the creep wave if your creep wave, or into the jungle, if their creep wave is up here. He's not going to run all the way across the map to here. He's going to run in the jungle. So if you're in this area, you could instantly smoke with one person, or instantly walk to their jungle with one person, and then go try to find him. And if you find him, you do a blink hex, you stun, you finger of death, and your ally will also do damage, and he'll die. But you're not doing that. You're basically waiting until someone's on the map, and then you're just kind of running at them. And then occasionally you buy wards, and then you will go place that down in a pretty generic spot. And same thing with Wraith King here. If he just organized at all with you guys, then that would have been a kill. Same thing. Oh, you didn't have blink yet. That's right. Oh, this is a pretty good fight for you guys, actually. Especially if you can get a triple star. Oh, that's too bad you didn't get him. And you got Doom now. So, let's see how you mess that up. So, Doom did a really good job here by dooming you. This is really, really well done. I feel like you could have disabled earlier. Like, let me show you the moment. Like right here. Skywrath Mage is very squishy. He's got really low armor. He's got a lot of HP. You can see this by his HP ticks. But I personally would have gone in a lot sooner than this. I didn't anticipate the Doom to have a Shadow Blade. So maybe I would have just gotten Doomed or something. But at this point, your decision making is relatively straightforward. This guy's kind of low, but he has his ultimate. And you've also got a Weaver nearby who does pretty good damage. So I think you guys should just go in on this. So first mistake, I think, yeah, you ran left around the trees, which means that you're always chasing them. If they're running to the right, and they're running after your ally to the right, instead, if you just walked to the right of the trees, you would have had a shorter path, and that would have led you to getting the disable off earlier or in time, and not getting doomed. So right here, you ran all the way around. Instead of instantly changing your position, you should move your mouse over to here and start right-clicking here. Then your hero would have changed. You would have ran this way, and that's a shorter path. That's leading them off. If we look at the amount of distance that you ran to disable, it was like this. Instead, you could just been like this. It's way shorter than this giant circle. So running to the right there would have mattered. You're also, again, leading with the stun, and you're also targeting it on the guy farthest in the back, which delays the stun, the cast time. Like, your cast range, actually, is a lot longer than this. See how far it went? It went all the way up to Skywrath Mage. If you just, like, stood here and targeted the ground here and did a skill shot on the ground, you guaranteed could have hit 3 of them. So that's why sometimes it is better to target your Earth Spike on the ground rather than on a hero, because now it's become imprecise. Because as you're casting your animation, it's going to, no matter what, be finished casting where the Skywrath is moving. So if the Skywrath moves like perpendicular to the way that you're aiming, as you're casting the spell, your hero is going to turn a little bit, which is going to change your line, which is why you miss basically. When you tried to cast this, they were leveled up, but by the time it finally got casted, he was moved. So it kind of looked clumped or whatever. That was actually kind of bizarre that it didn't hit the anti-mage when you. It looks like you actually cast it on the Doom. So I'm a little surprised. This is probably more of a camera angle thing. If we change the camera angle to something like this, yeah, it kind of, I don't know, very, very bizarre. I don't know why it looked weird. Anyways, you could have casted it earlier, and you could have been at a better position as well. And it's at this moment here, you actually still had Trinkles. Okay, this is kind of a big mistake. The fact that as soon as you got doomed, you started attacking. I mean, you probably didn't realize in time because you got doomed. You were probably trying to hex and confused. But if you do get doomed and you still have Tranquils up, then you live. You just run away. If you could have just run away with Doom on, you 100% would have lived, because you would have taken 35 damage at second pure, but you would have regen for 12 HP per second, and you had a raindrop, which potentially if they throw nukes at you as you run away, you could have lived. As soon as you got pounced, you're dead. So all of these things could have made the whole fight a lot better. You could have gotten a hex off on Doom, for example, and that might have been a good choice. Make sure to Doom him first, or hex him first, that way he doesn't Doom you. That could have been good. But that was, I'm sure, a huge gold swing for them. That didn't really need to happen. I don't know if we're... Okay, there it is. I mean, considering the fact... I'm actually really surprised there's not more. What's the gold graph look like? It's not that good for you guys, actually. You have a commanding lead, but you're actually not winning by that much. And it's because you're not pressuring correctly, and they have better farming heroes. They have basically 4 heroes that farm AFK. and you guys have like 2 to 3 basically. So they're out farming you and you're not pressuring enough. But you guys have such a huge commanding kill and experience advantage probably. Your experience advantage is way better than the gold, and that's because you guys are poor at farming. You're weak at farming. If you're better at pressuring and farming, then your XP advantage would match your gold advantage more. But by that I mean you're basically not ganking well enough. You're not transitioning your ganks well enough. You should have your blink now at least, which is good. But again, it's very late. 24 minutes is usually, if an anti-mage is farming well, he should have Manta by now. This guy's bad obviously, so he doesn't have a Manta. But now you have to deal with Doom having a Shadow Blade and he's about to buy another item. Like, instead you could just absolutely control the game for the rest of the game because of your fast blink dagger. I would also really prioritize having sentries. I think that's pretty important. I like that you're sitting back from the creep wave, that's good. This is a little dangerous, but that was good. I'm cool with the fact that you did a blink or spike there, I think, because you're gonna need it. You need it for the damage anyways, so you saved mana, and he was unlikely to react in time, so I think that was cool. But like, that's the stuff that you could have been doing at like 15 minutes, you know? If you just made your early game better, if your roaming was more effective, you could have been doing this from the start of the game. So now you're finally pressuring. That was a pressure move. You did it, but it's very delayed. It should have been earlier. And now it looks like you are trying to force your team to Roche, which doesn't seem to be working very well. The word's okay. I'm alright with that.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
See what else goes on. Positioning now, you definitely need more sentries in this, I think. I think you also misplaced this a little bit. Oops. Oh no, that's actually pretty good. I like to put it as close as possible. I like that you put a little north because that's where he's likely to come from. Maybe I would have preferred to put it slightly more central because now he could just walk up in the lane and not be seen. If I have 2 sentries when I'm pushing this tower, I usually put one about here, and then I like to put one up here as well because those are the most common places that he'll wrap in from. And occasionally maybe one in the back. But I'd also prefer that you actually just don't right-click a tower. You do damage, but first of all, this disables your Tranquil Boots. That's first mistake. And by the way, you don't have a Windlace, and I think you should have a Windlace. Because Tranquils plus Windlace means you're running at like 420 movement speed, which is huge. Which means that you very easily initiate even without Blink Dagger. It's kind of like an offset to the fact that you don't blink in the early game sometimes. But by hitting the tower, you're denying your Tranquil Boots. That means if you get doomed, you don't get the regen. That means if a fight happens, you're going to be way slower, actually. It's like 55 movement speed slower. It's a massive difference, actually. So you hitting the tower doesn't actually kill it that fast, and it also lets your opponents know exactly where you are, and you're pretty much the most dangerous disabling hero that you have on your team. So you're constantly telling them, I'm here, I'm right here. If they have a Potom, they could arrow you. If they have a Storm Spirit, they could ball lightning on you and Orchid you and try to kill you at the start before like Zeus and Ricky can stop him, which is entirely possible that he'll kill you in time. Instead, what you should be doing in pushes like these, especially with the Blink Dagger, is you should either stand between these trees, that way the only way they can see you is like in little cones here and here, or you can stand down here in these trees. The only downside to that, of course, is that your sentry is not there. Your sentry's over here. But if you had approached the creep wave, placed a sentry, ran this way, ran all the way around, ran through here, and just sat here, he's not going to find you probably. And if he does, good for him. But you could hide all the way over here, and then if somebody gets gone on, you can just do a blink hex and then help people out or cover them or whatever. Change the whole team fight. Now they know there's 4 heroes there. Instead, you could have 2 heroes hitting the tower, and then they'll say, hey, there's only 2 heroes, let's go. And then you pop out, land a stun, change the whole fight. So change your positioning as well. They have 5 heroes up. Like, there could be an epicenter bro strike right now, honestly. You're showing 4 heroes. If you just, like, so much, if he was standing here, for example, I mean, I know you have the Zeus illusion, but what if this guy was set up already and he was hiding in the trees? He could channel epicenter, he could blink right here, and he could stun into 3. You would just die, pretty much. Especially if they coordinated this with other people going in. Whole fight's over. You guys lose this fight right now. But they weren't set up in time, so you guys are just going to right-click it down. But you 100% could have lost that fight right there, based on your position. Blink forward was good, but, again, you stacked your disables, especially because you have 3 points in Hex now. This is 3.5 seconds to disable. The only good thing about you throwing that out is it guaranteed your Earth Spike damage came out before this guy casted Silence. Looks like he used it on somebody else. So, in some ways it's good that you casted it, but as a whole I would say probably not. Here's the epicenter. Raindrop did help you out a little bit, which is good, but you're still gonna die. And now this fight looks pretty bad, actually. Maybe. Ricky. Wow. Why did that guy live? That was weird.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Alright. Sand Black Mamba, whatever that
Radiant's top
means.
tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower
Ricky, so
is under
feated.
attack.
So yeah, all the positions and things like that are really important. You bought a Ghost Scepter now, which is arguably going to keep you alive against right clickers. It's decent against Slark. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's the right choice here. I think instead I would prefer... I think I would instead prefer a Force Staff maybe, or a Glimmer. Probably Glimmer. I personally think Glimmer is the better solution against Slark. Just because even if he has Detection then all of his magic damage will do less, including Dark Pact most importantly. And if he doesn't have Detection, then you just live. I would definitely prefer you get Glimmer. This is kind of nice because it gives you $5 attributes, which is more mana and HP and stuff, but Glimmer can also be used on your allies. Like if Zeus gets doomed, for example, just Glimmer him. If you're doing the right thing in your positioning, like I pointed out down here, hiding in the trees, and Shadow comes up from Shadowblade and dooms your Zeus, just walk forward a little bit, Glimmer him, and then do like a blink forward to stun like 3 heroes in a line. Changes everything, changes the whole fight. Ghost Scepter's not that good this game. It's good against Anti-Mage, but he doesn't have his Manta yet. It's bad against Sky. It's pretty bad against Sand King. It's arguably okay against Doom, but not that useful because most of his damage is done magic applied before you pop your Ghost Scepter in most cases. And against Slark, like I said, it's alright, but definitely Glimmer is usually my item build. Again, there's mana problems with that, so maybe that's something that you could adjust your item build. I know some lines are going Arcanes right now with Blink, and then those problems aren't going to exist anymore. Then they'd have HP problems and HP regen problems and blah blah blah. But me personally, I really like the Tranquil build, and I think Glimmer afterwards is a really good adjustment. You definitely should have gone a little faster here. Got the Hex off though. I think you're going to ult. Yeah, I expect you to do that. I don't think you needed to though. You have 4 seconds to disable and 4 allies hitting him. I think you easily could have gone away with this. So I think this is probably fine for talking about this replay. I think it was very informative. I think you're getting a lot of things down really good. You just need to work on your what to do at 15 to 40 minutes stage. That's really the part that you're flailing on. Your laning stage is pretty good. Your teamfight decision making could be a bit better. And let's hop into the next game. Alright, game number 2 here. I know this one didn't go nearly as well for you, so we'll see what the difference is. Give an award to the Silencer. I'm guessing, yep, bought the same item build. I still really like this starting build. I think it's very effective. Covers pretty much everything that you might need. Or Spike again. Again, I'm cool with that. I just think it was... Ooh, it's too bad you guys stacked your stuns. Although he did have to get Leap level 1, which is really bad, so... I think that was mostly okay. I think in a case like that, it's actually better to go Hex, really. If somebody is surrounded by that many people, like if you just Hex him instead, you guarantee 2.5 seconds, and you have 3 to 4 heroes hitting instead. It's really just too bad that you stacked with Sven. So, you kind of hesitated. I don't think you anticipated the toss, nor did I, so kind of makes sense. Alright, went forward, you denied a creep, instantly go into zone, which is perfect. You're doing it right. Unfortunately, the creep wave came, so now you have to run back. But you're going back to zone the bottom again, which is actually super important considering that he doesn't have arrow, so I'm glad that you're doing this. I like that you checked for him. This is great. I would have probably stunned there, because I think you could have gotten away with it. A little bit of damage. I would have also stunned there, maybe. Check his items. I don't know if you did or not. He's only got 1 tango. You're doing this great. It's perfect, perfect, perfect. Got Hex now. Cool. Alright, I think... that was close. Oh, you did aggro. That's too bad. That's actually pretty... Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could de-aggro that. That's a good idea. Eat another tango. Alright, well done. That's really good. I think because he's dead, I would probably instantly go to pull, most likely. I don't know if I would bother pulling that one, because I would want it to stack. I would probably pull diagonally upper left now, so you're going to miss it, I think. No, it's going to be close. You can get it. Alright, you stacked it at least. Alright, that's good. I like that you pulled the audible left. It's not going to be effective, obviously, at pulling the creep wave, but you did at least get it stacked. I think you're wasting a lot of time running back to this area. I think you're focusing a little bit too much on creep equilibrium based on you denying. I think it's more important that you set up for supporty things, because right here you lost another opportunity. You stacked it. This is cool. Profits shown over here. You're focusing on stacking. Instead, you could have been walking down this way to get him out of zone faster. That way the tiny doesn't have to do this. And then now you're doing the same thing. You're waiting around to deny, to deny, to deny. Instead, you could have been over here and you could have started a pull. And that creep wave would have been pulled. And you're still attempting side pulls, but you can't do this unless you pull to a place before where the creep equilibrium is. So you could have done that one, but you would have had to pull up or left diagonally a little earlier. So now you're kind of gimping yourself heavily. You're basically given yourself and the tiny almost dual experience this whole time. It's not terrible, but it definitely could have been better than what you had currently. Definitely clean this up, and then ideally when the creep wave pushes next, I would go for a side pull on the large camp is what you should do. You've also got boots now, which is good. Looks like you're going to go buy them over here, like that. Again, same problem as before. Escape hero, use hex. I guarantee that if you hex him there, that he dies. This guy's got tons of damage. This is like 400 magic damage minimum. 225, yeah, 400 magic damage. And you have 140, so that's 540 magic damage. And minimum 4 seconds to disable. Easily dies. 3 right clicks, and that full combo, that's a dead hero. Always hex. Always, always hex. It's also first nighttime. This would be a really good time to get an observer ward for your safe lane. I would really recommend flying it out, especially if you have a carry that's vulnerable, such as Tiny. He's vulnerable to ganks. He's not a Ricky. He's not a Slark. You know, he's definitely vulnerable. So you've been definitely worse at pulling this game, I would say. You're close to getting good pulling going, but you're also kind of missing your pulls. You've basically just gotten a couple single pulls, and that's not really good enough. Looks like Tiny left the lane, so you're farming now, which is good. I like this. Just make sure you get the last hits, of course. So far, you're doing well. Don't be afraid to use mana. You've got a clarity potion and you have mana drain. I don't know why you're running away. This is a huge mistake. I think you're smoking. Alright, no reason to smoke here. You got a lane that has nobody in it. You're playing a greedy support. You could be farming Blink Dagger. You could be getting kills. I do not want you rotating out of the lane like this. I don't care if that guy asked to gank. I don't care if there's like 3 heroes mid. You guys should not be ganking right now. You should be standing in the safe lane, at least scaring the Mirana a little bit and guaranteeing your farm. Instead, you're guaranteeing this guy a free lane in your safe lane. And instead, what do you do with it? It looks like you guys just end up, I don't know, like, I just really don't like this whole rotation thing. And it wasn't even done correctly. Like, I don't know, man. It shouldn't be this guy leading, it should be you leading. So this further makes it worse, because it gives him a couple hundred extra units to get away. Shouldn't be him leading, and because he leads, it just doesn't work anyways. It shouldn't work. Alright, it's gonna work, but this really shouldn't have worked. 100% this shouldn't have worked. And Tiny does eventually get the experience again, but you could have accomplished that in similar ways. You could have just TP'd a little bit late, and then approached as the silencer went in, and probably still gotten a kill, or probably still helped. I think that would have been way better. Same thing. Free experience. Look at these 2 dead creeps that are about to die. Nobody's here. That could be your level 6, guaranteed. Oh, that's frustrating to see. Grabbed a bounty rune, that's cool, man. But what do you... Like, you could have been 6. You could have grabbed 4 creeps here. 100% you get your level 6 at 8 minutes. 100%. Instead, you're moving around the map. That's cool, I guess. You got your tranquil boots. That's cool, I guess. You could have stacked this camp, by the way. And now you're back mid again. Like, because nobody's there, right? But there was nobody there the whole time that you've been gone. You're just giving up all this free experience. Oh, now you've pretty much just killed yourself. Ooh, that was real sloppy. That was real sloppy, man. Stack that camp, pull it to the right. Approach the creep wave, whatever. Creep waves are dying. You run away now. I don't know why you ran up here. This was weird. This is very weird. I feel like you weren't watching or something. Let's see from that. Let's see it from your player perspective. It's a huge mistake. Got your items. Yeah, you weren't watching. Not too surprising, I guess, but you can't die like that as a support. That's completely not okay. And again, you could have been 6 this whole time if you just sat mid. Again, you're buying a magic stick. I think it's honestly better to spend your money on a windlace as a line in the early game, personally, just because getting your disables off in the first place and getting from lane to lane is more important and does more for your survivability than having a magic stick to heal up when your armor is bad, if that makes sense. So now you're kind of, again, you're catching up now, because you haven't hit 6 fast enough, because you haven't been quite hitting the mark on your support play and your experience maximization. Like, line is a careful balance between the two things. You also did a stack pull in the small camp. If you don't nuke this, I'm going to be upset, because it's not going to be farmed efficiently, and it's just going to deny your wave. Okay, great. You nuked it. I'm glad about that. That guarantees that you get 2 waves here. Also gets your level 6. You're still last hitting decently. That's good. Nobody's here, so time to get experience for free. Again, just start being a little greedy. Farm your Blink Dagger. Alright, he's back. And again, you're flying out your full magic wand before you're getting Windlace, before you're getting Raindrops. I think it's okay to skip Raindrops this game, considering most of the heroes are just strong right clickers, but I do like that your allies are wrapping around. This is good. I would have definitely mana drained here. Your mana pool is not full. Could be full. Could have been full. Top your mana off. I mean, it gives you maximum 100 mana anyways. If you're missing 75, you should use it. Now we're snooping mid. Pulling the mid back so it doesn't die for free, which is decent. Same mana problems. I would have mana drained. That was good. I like how you guys approached that. That was really well done. No reason for you to stand here for 2 creeps, I don't think. I mean, you're pressuring the wave. That's cool, but I feel like it would have been better for you to back up. Maybe go stack a camp, personally. I don't know. That was alright. Maybe it was okay. Maybe I'm being overly critical. Alright, Yarbine Windlace, though. You use the smoke. You've got Finger of Death. You're looking for kills. This is good. I like this movement. I assume Silencer is the one that called for this. I feel like you didn't do stuff like this very often when you were... Again, same problem. Always Hex first. Especially when you run all the way to low ground to do it. He can already see you. There's a chance. If he just throws a tornado, he lives. It's that simple. If he tornadoes you, he gets out. If you're gonna hex, if you're gonna stun him like that, you stand here, and you just you Earth Spike from high ground. And let's look at the stack again. Boom, right there. Your Earth Spike was at about this much duration. That's like a whole. That's actually so much disable. That's like a full second of duration that you wasted completely. Way too early. I mean, he's gonna die anyways, but that was a little close. You don't want to mess around like that. Absolutely don't want to mess around. Either way, great smoke. That's the kind of stuff that you need to do in the early mid game once you hit level 6. And you kind of finally got it done, which is good. You should have gotten more last hits there, I think. Let's see how you respect this. Were you late? No. See, this should have been yours. 100%. You still ended up getting the other 2, but you could have gotten the other 2 while getting that melee. So make sure that you're a little careful using your spells. Every little bit of experience, mana, and gold and stuff that you waste is a huge deal. You also bought a Tome of Knowledge. I'm not 100% sold on you buying this personally. Again, here we're getting another scenario where you're basically running around the map endlessly based on how people are moving. If you're going to run all the way to the bot lane and you have 2 wards in your inventory, put a ward down. So you already walked all the way here. You're going to walk all the way back mid. Instead, you could have just put a ward down to control the jungle. If you take their tier 1 tower this early, you need to control their jungle because it gives you a huge advantage. So where you should be warding is somewhere like here or over here. You want to see when ally or enemies run through the jungle, or you want to protect these 2 camps for you to farm, possibly these 3 camps for your team to farm, and you need wards to protect that because then they basically have no safe places on the map. Look where they can farm. They can farm right here. They can farm like here and these 2 camps. And then they get like what? These 2 camps. And your team gets all of your jungle, you get all of your ancients, and you get these 3 camps. That should give you a gold advantage. So if you take a fast tier 1 tower like this, and they're collapsed on the map, you 100% got to protect those new resources that you just gained. And that's where your warding should go. Here, 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 anywhere. Walked all the way there, and then you walked all the way back. Huge waste of like 45 seconds as a support. You initiated here. That was alright. I think I would have just gone for the deny personally. You also got a level up here, which is kind of nice. And now this is just not even... Okay, this is actually going to be a good fight, I think. Kind of. Unfortunately, you don't quite have the mana. You could have wanded and hexed. You will catch him because of Windlace there. That was relatively decent. At this point, your Blink Dagger delay is not terrible. I just think that you could get there a little faster. I know you are playing 5 position, but I think you could be a little more greedy in the parts that I mentioned, and also much more efficient with your time is really the thing you're kind of being a little sloppy on. Weak stun, hit 5 things. Don't miss last hits. Mana drain here. Like this is one of those times where like you can be a 5 position in that you're defending towers and stuff, but you can also accelerate your farming. Same here, same problem. Move your hero a little bit to the right and then stun pass. It'll catch all 3. Get these 2, get this one down to 1 hit, then you 1 hit that instantly. And then you attack this creep like 4 times, whole creep wave's dead. Instead, you have to waste another like 2 seconds waiting to get this range creep. And you missed it because you didn't adjust your positioning. Now you're going to die. But that's not too weird. It happens sometimes. That's a Shadow Blade gank. And that's one thing you got to be careful of as a support like line, is that sometimes you actually can't farm the same place too long, especially at this point in the game. And this is another reason why the delayed blink dagger is such a big deal, is because now they have their Shadow Blades, and now if they're smart or good in any way, they're just going to punish the shit out of you because you're not putting the pressure on fast enough. Because if you get your blink dagger at the same speed that you got the last game, this guy's going to kill you like a billion times this game. And to be honest, you guys have a massive advantage this game. It's very similar to the last game I just watched. Huge early game advantage. This should translate into an absolute commanding lead. But I know that you died a lot this game, and I bet it's because you guys didn't pressure well enough. It didn't matter that much the last game, but look at this. Drough's just going to get all these free kills. Okay, maybe not this one, because this guy's tanky as hell, and he has huge agi gain, but your delayed blink dagger really does make a big difference. It's like Storm should be able to clean this one up. So your blink is still delayed. We're getting close to 20 minutes. You can buy all these wards and also get a blink at a relatively good timing. I would say like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something. But sometimes buying all of these extra little items on the way to blink doesn't give you that possibility. So the way that I kind of balance it, again, if you're TPing in this lane, I would maybe adjust and go nuke this way, because now you're not gonna do quite as much damage to the range creeps. All right, you gotta last hit these, right? If you have weak damage, which you pretty much do, range creeps are 2 tower hits and 2 right clicks. So you should always hit it once before the tower hits it the second time, and then you hit it a second time. You should be getting all these last hits. You should be able to figure out where the tower is going to attack too. Let's see where it's attacking. It's attacking right here. Okay. Closest creep to the tower. It's going to be this one. Right now you should turn and auto attack this once. Attack it once. Attack it twice. Last hit. Where's it going to attack next? The next range creep. It's the next closest. Attack once. Attack twice. There's 100 gold. Right here. That's been a last hit this whole time. You could have gone that, or you're focusing on the denying. You can do that while you're last hitting. It just takes a little bit of practice. And you finally got one of the last hits, but it's been like 5. And now, I bet you're going to stay here too long, and you're going to get killed. This is something I used to do a lot when I was in Korea. But this is the thing. You're standing by creep waves now too much, and your opponents are actually good at pressuring. And it's many of their heroes. And as you rank up in MMR, you're going to encounter this more. People are going to be good at just ganking you while you're passively farming. But you gave up so many times to passively farm the whole game that you could have had like a huge amount of gold. And the way that you did your early item build with your buys, it just completely delayed you. Because basically what you were doing was you're having a good game, you're tri-laning, you're getting some pulls off, you're getting some farm, you're getting some assists, your team's getting towers. But every time you get like 400 gold, you're spending like 200 or 300 of it on little items like magic wand pieces or windlace. Like what you should be buying is you should be buying some observer wards. You should be buying an occasional sentry ward. You should buy windlace and tranquil boots. But then you just like pretty much skimp it out. You should try to skimp it out a little bit. And then if your gold streaks up into like the, I don't know, the 1300 range based on your roaming being really effective, like the way you should play this is like leave the possibility for you having a really good 3 minutes where you get like 2 kills and you're part of 2 other kills, you get assists for them, and your team takes like a tower. And then all of a sudden your gold can jump up for streaks of like 800. But if you constantly are spending 400 every single time that you get up to 400, 500 gold, 600 gold, then you're never going to have that potential to streak where you can say, okay, we just had a really good 3 minutes. I'm going to slightly passively farm because now I can guarantee that I get my blink dagger. So you're constantly keeping your gold in a place where you're always like 1500 gold away, like a shitload of gold away from getting your blink dagger. So you never feel comfortable being like, guys, I'm just going to take like 2 minutes to AFK farm, guarantee my blink dagger, because you're never allowing yourself the possibility, because you're constantly spending the low amounts of gold that you have to guarantee that you have items. But then that's always increasing this length of point of game where you just don't have your blink dagger and your hero's so much less effective. And it's further made worse by the fact that you're not good enough at ganking without blink dagger, that your gameplay is less effective. As soon as you got blink dagger in the last game, your whole gameplay changed. My view of you as a player went up massively, because then you started actually doing smart ganks. But before that, you don't really know what to do. It seems clear that you're not very good at ganking pre-blink dagger. So what you have to do is try to allow yourself to have these good early games that put you into a 16-minute blink dagger or an 18-minute blink dagger. You could have blink right now if you had been a little bit more greedy on your early item builds. Like, what has this wand done for you all game, honestly? Like, the only times you've died are basically this time now where you got ganked, and the other time was when Drow Ranger ganked you with the Shadow Blade, and that that wasn't really that bad because you weren't farming that long. This one you stayed too long and farmed too long, in my opinion. It was slightly unpredicted that they would gank you here or whatever, but you definitely stayed too long, and you still don't have a Blink Dagger. And you also gave up all the farm on the safe lane because you went to like pull or something, and then there was farm in the mid, you just left it. You gotta like see those opportunities, recognize, hey, I'm a slightly greedy support, there's nobody in my lane, I'm gonna sit here for just a little bit, I'm gonna get like 3 last hits, it's gonna peak me over my level 6 at 8 minutes, which is super early, and then I can use that to buy a smoke, bring the smoke out to me, and then I'm gonna look on the map and be like, hey, where can I get a kill if I do an Earth Spike and Finger of Death combo? The reality is probably anywhere there's a hero, if you can get the Earth Spike off, or the Hex into Earth Spike into Finger of Death. So then you have to look at the map and say, is Invoker pushed up enough? Like maybe Invoker is really far up in his lane, and therefore I can easily wrap around with a smoke. I can do a Hex Earth Spike at like 9 minutes because I had to go back and heal once I got 6. Then I had to buy the smoke, and then I'll TP to the tier 2, I'll pop the smoke, I'll wrap around, and then I'll get a kill on Invoker at 9 minutes with Finger of Death. Put my Finger of Death on cooldown, and really start my game off in a good way, you know? That'll cost you 100 gold, because you gotta buy a smoke and a TP to get there faster. But as soon as you hit 6, that's the stuff you're thinking about. Or maybe you already had a smoke and you get 6 and you run away and you regen your mana in the jungle, and then you instantly smoke and go back and do the gank instead of going back to base. Like those are all opportunities that you can do. And maybe if you had already brought an observer ward to yourself because you planned ahead a little, you could place the observer ward while you're ganking, right after you set up the jungle, do the Hex or Spike, Finger of Death, somebody dies on the mid lane, and then you go back to doing regular support stuff until your Finger of Death's on off cooldown again. And then if you're a little gimped on your items, if you only have an Ironwood branch or 2 and you don't have a Windlace, or maybe you do have a Windlace but you don't have a magic stick, you just got an Ironwood branch and a Windlace and a TP scroll and a smoke, like that's your items and a ward, then that's completely fine, because then you can all of a sudden get a solo kill on the mid hero who has a stupid amount of farm, and because of that you get much more gold when you kill him than you would have otherwise, because it was actually like a core and it was a big hero and your allies get more advantage, and it just completely snowballs the game. And then you go back to doing regular support things and you get another 200 gold. And then maybe you help in one defensive gank and all of a sudden you get another 200 gold. And then you're sitting there and you're like, hey, I've got 1600 gold at 14 minutes. I'm pretty close to a Blink Dagger. It's time to be a little greedy. And then you be greedy. You go to a lane and you last hit by the tower while your Tiny's jungling or ganking somewhere else. You take turns ganking, basically. And then all of a sudden you farm there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and all of a sudden you've got a Blink Dagger. Done. Game's over. You've got Blink Dagger at 16, 18 minutes. Instead, map wasn't quite pressured as effectively. They have some advantage there. You never warded your jungle. You never warded their jungle quite early enough, so it's harder for your Storm Spirit and your Tiny to do ganks by themselves. Again, you don't have to be the one to do the gank. If you just place the wards down, your wards will let them do the gank. They'll feel comfortable farming the jungle. You could have had this ward here in this jungle camp for so long, and it could have been in a better place. Again, you're warding super obvious spots every single time. This could have been here, or even here, or over here, or something, or right here. Any of these spots would have been arguably better to let your allies see where they should be. Storm could just spend the whole game farming these 3 camps, coming down, killing whoever comes the lane, pushing the lane out, going back, farming the 3 camps, and just having a ward and a sentry here, or just observer wards, completely changes that whole thing. And then you can go back, after you place those, you just go back to the top lane, you finish farming your Blink Dagger, and your allies are able to get kills off because you've already put the wards down. You're like, all these things completely impact the game. Like, you're honestly very close to being a super effective line player, in my opinion, but you're just not quite hitting the mark. Hopefully a lot of the things I said are really useful. You definitely need to work on your warding, though. I think your warding is... The places that you ward are far below your level. You also chose to go for a Yule Scepter this game. I think this is awful. Terrible choice. I know that you probably panic bought this. I know that you already have a Windlace. So you're probably thinking like, well, I've already got a Windlace. I might as well make the Yules. Most of the time, I really disagree with that. I just think that Yules is probably the second worst trap item in the game for line, other than mech. A lot of players buy mech. It's a bad item. Yules is somehow worse. Huge mistake that you just made here too. You let your opponents know that you were still in the area. I know that you were in this lane. Let's see how you approached it originally. Come to this lane. Silencer's last hitting it. You don't need to walk next to these creeps. Silencer's already shown that he's here. But right here, I'm pretty sure your opponents just saw you. Look, they can see you on the map right now. And that's because you walked up to the creep wave. They have no idea where you are on the map. Boom. They just saw you. Because you walked next to a creep that had just died. And then you kept doing that. You come up here, and now you're last hitting again. But Silencer was last hitting this. What's the purpose now? And now Storm is teleporting within creep wave. Now instantly, everybody on their team says, hey, they have 3 heroes bottom and they have 2 heroes middle. And because of that, they can now play their whole game based on exactly where you guys are. Every single person on the map on their team knows exactly where everybody is. If you just don't show, for example, and they're at all paying attention to the map, they might just be fucking scared. If you just had a smoke right now, you could just let Storm TP in, you 2 smoke, and you walk past the creep wave at least, and then as soon as Silencer finishes his wave, he enters the jungle with you, for example. And then all of a sudden you have all these gank possibilities. But instead, you guys are completely limiting the element of surprise. You're not going to kill anybody in this jungle now. All 3 of these heroes know that you're there. And now Ven just put a ward down because he's like, well, they're right there. They're clearly going to go walk into our jungle. They have 3 heroes bottom. Let's react to this. Instead, it could have just been a single Silencer. Silencer could have finished the creep wave, pushed it out a little bit, and then all of your 4 heroes can move into their jungle and go look to do something. Instead, they all leave, and they all go somewhere else to farm. All because you stood next to creep wave. So that's another extremely important thing that you didn't do here. Again, you're only dewarding obvious places. Oh, wow. Do you think they expected this gank when they were expecting all 4 of you guys to be in the jungle? Look at their positions right now. They're all pretty good for protecting against people invading from jungle. But instead, if you just didn't show on the creep wave, you walked in, he went to place that ward there. Possibly could have gotten this kill off without having to worry about this swap and all of this other stuff. You also don't have Blink Dagger, of course, so you're not even able to help catch them. So they pretty much just live, except for that guy. But whatever. You got that kill. That could have been like 3 kills, 2 kills minimum. Instead, it was only 1. And it was an okay kill, but it wasn't amazing. So I don't completely know why you're buying Euls, by the way. I think you're buying it partially panic, but also because of Gust. Not worth it, though. It looks like they're building a couple Orchids as well. Invoker's going to be building one, as is Prophet. But the reality is that if you initiate first, it doesn't matter if they have Orchids. It's really not a big deal, because you should be blink, stunning, ulting, and then walking away right away. Sometimes hexing in there as well. If you get Orchided, that's okay. If you're farming somewhere and you get Orchided and you die, then okay, that sucks. Maybe a Euls would have been nice. But for all of these other situations, it's so much better to just have a Blink Dagger. And Orchid's actually very expensive. It's more expensive than a Blink Dagger is. And I know the buildup is easier. But what else does the item do for you? It actually is really bad for what it does. It gives you 40 movement speed. That's arguably the best part. It gives you 10 int. That's cool. That's 120 mana. But it costs you 175 to cast it, so in reality it actually doesn't really help your mana that much. It gives you mana regen. Do you need mana regen? You have 4 skill points into a skill that gives you 120 mana per second, and you can cast it on a 4-second cooldown. It's like, there's literally almost no reason to have an Orchid in the whole game. The only good reason is if you need to use it offensively, but there's pretty much no situation ever where buying an Orchid first online is actually going to make you a better hero than if you buy Blink Dagger. There's pretty much no situation, I think, unless you're maybe playing like mid-line and you're against a Skywrath Mage or something, or a Silencer. I don't know, man. That's like the only way that I could see that you spending all of your gold on making sure that you're not silenced is more important, and that's never the case for line. You should just initiate first, or you should come from invis and back up the allies that are in trouble. And now you're probably saying, hey, I should keep farming my Orchid. This is important to catch up. But again, you're so behind where you are. Instead, you should be pressuring, and now the Drow gets an easy killing you. This is, okay, you got killed by neutral, that was pretty cool. But you didn't do that on purpose. And you're not pressuring lanes, you're literally just farming creeps. You're just trying to catch up. That's not how you play Line. Line is not a catch-up hero. He is a slightly greedy laning. He's a slightly greedy and laning hero. He's a arguably greedy ganking hero. When his ulti is off cooldown, he's kind of a bad ganking hero when his ulti is off cooldown. Slightly bad, depending on what your team comp is. And then once you get Blink Dagger, he is entirely a pressure hero. He's entirely a pressure and gank hero. And that's the part that you're completely choking on this game. You're not pressuring at all. You're literally walking to lanes and farming them. In the hopes of farming Euls, which is going to protect you from the Gust from the Drow. But by the time you finally finish this item, this bastard's going to have a Black King Bar or a Manta. And then you're going to use yourself to remove the Gust, and you know what he's going to do? He's just going to kill you anyways, probably. And in a lot of cases, there's just a real good chance that he just kills you anyways. If you just offensively move around the map, and you push towers with sentry wards in front of the towers, you just protect yourself from all the Shadowblade garbage anyways. Because then you're just literally hiding in trees near a tower with a Blink Dagger with a sentry ward down. And even if you don't have the Blink yet, the sentry ward is still going to give you vision in that area. and you can just walk out and hex him anyways. And now your team is like trying to carry the game and trying to snowball and gank, but you're not there for any of those things. You've basically been useless. Honestly, you've really kind of been useless in this game for minimum 10 minutes. You actually haven't, you've done almost nothing, despite your laning principles being good, and despite your last hitting being not awful for your MMR. Your mid-game impact is just really, really weak. It does almost nothing. Wow, that Storm really overballed there. He easily could have killed this guy if he just didn't waste so much mana. That was, okay, he's still gonna die, but... So yeah, you're finally getting your Eul's Scepter, but it's just so delayed. And again, you're doing similar things. Now look at how you're warding. You're warding different spots, which is kind of good. But what you're basically doing now is you're adjusting to the game that's at hand. You guys had a huge advantage. You've thrown a lot of that away. And now you're saying, well, we're getting ganked. I'm getting ganked. That means I'm scared. We need to be defensive. That's not the right move to do, though. You look at, and that's pretty much based on lineups, and look based on what their lineups are. They have decent ganking heroes. They have very good push heroes. They have huge draw capabilities. Taking a 5v5 fight's a little scary. Passively farming for you guys is not really that good. They're probably going to out-farm you, arguably. What's really better for you guys is ganking. You have like 3 amazing gank heroes. Tiny, Storm, Lion. Silencer's alright at that. Mostly good for team fighting. And Sven is also like 8. Oh god, he got a Battle Fury. Ugh. And Sven is mostly good at like, I don't know, gank, team fight, farm. Like a little bit of everything. What you should be doing is putting all of your wards really aggressively, ideally around their towers. I don't care that they have a gold advantage right now. This is almost nothing. You guys can easily crap on all these heroes. None of them have BKBs. They've got Shadow Blades. You should just be carrying a Dust, honestly. You should have Blink. You should have Sentries and Obs. And you should have a Dust. And then once you get enough gold after that, I would either buy a Force Staff or I would buy a Ghost Scepter. This is a great Ghost Scepter game because of Prophet's right click. And all these Orchids, if they Orchid you, just pop the Ghost. If he Gusts you, just pop the Ghost. No problem. Problem solved. You don't need a Eul's. Yeah, it'll remove the silence, but you could also just Ghost Scepter so they can't attack you for 4 seconds while you're silenced, and then the 2 seconds afterwards, you're gonna be walking away this whole time, and or maybe you TP, or maybe your teammates back you up. It's just so much better than Eul's. Eul's is honestly terrible. I would so much rather, if you really are so worried about these early deaths, you buy Force Staff first. You either buy Force Staff first, or you buy a Windlace, Tranquil Boots, and a Ghost Scepter. That's all so much better. So much better. Because you're literally not even going to keep yourself alive. Even if you finish your Eul's. And again, every single time you farm some of these bastards show up and farm it instead of you, which is really stupid and annoying, but it's not constructive at all. That's actually really hurting you. That's happened like 8 times this game. I know that's frustrating. You also could have farmed this medium camp, I think. You're also literally 100 gold away from getting your next items, and you're still not prioritizing yourself. You really need to do that a little bit more. Like this whole, after Storm stole your farm, you literally could just walk to the medium camp while he's farming a different camp and try to get the last hits. And it would have been fine. So you're not quite prioritizing yourself enough. I would buy a smoke here, probably. Oh, you bought a ward instead. That's okay. I don't know why you put wards in this area. Oh, you put a ward here and a sentry here. That's alright, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. Again, you're farming. Not ganking. Not helping your allies stay alive. You're pretty much just farming. Not useful. These guys are able to gank your allies because you're not ganking their allies or them. So all of the deaths that are coming on your team are partially because you're not helping them out very much. And now you're trying for random sentry wards. I don't think that's very useful, personally. I think you could be better off doing different things. Like using your skills or initiating or carrying smokes. Like you should have sentry here with an observer ward and a smoke, 100%. Group with your allies, go get a kill. Use your ultimates. Use your ultimate to get kills. Use your ultimates to accelerate. Tiny's a good player. What did you use to break that? Was it you? Did you break his Lincolns? I'm not really sure. So look at your wards right now. You have equal towers to your opponents, but part of the problem with your wards right now is they don't actually prevent anything. They more just like these wards are good if your team is like over here. You don't really want your wards like at the line where you're farming, because if you ever cross your line, your wards don't become useful anymore, because then they're behind where your creeps are. I would say there's very rare cases. If I'm like super behind in a game and they're ganking a lot, I would ward like this. But you are not in that game. You should be able to read that. You're 3,000 gold behind. That's like one item, really. It's not that much at all. It's pretty small. Like, look at the net worth differences between your heroes. It's really not much. They're all pretty much the same, equally distributed. Your wards should absolutely be outside their towers. They should be aggressive. At the very least, they should be at this line here, slightly past the river. If you ward at the river, you're still only getting half the resources of your opponents, and your wards aren't helping in any way in terms of you ganking. And these wards are 100% detrimental. If somebody else buys wards instead of you, and places them aggressively, your whole game changes. But you're actually hurting your team by buying wards and placing them like this. This ward, not useful. This ward, pretty much not useful. This ward should be probably over here, or maybe over here. You want to see people walking through the lane to come approach a gank. This ward's kind of good if it's like really early game and you lose your tier 1 tower and you need to protect your jungle a little bit. That's when this ward is good. If you're offlane on Radiant and you're worried about where the supports are going, this is a good ward. But this ward is pretty bad right now in my opinion. This ward is kind of bad, and I would say this ward is moderately bad. If one of these wards existed, or two of them, and you had one deep ward, I'd be like, okay, the wards are fine. But you have 3 mediocre wards, 4 mediocre wards, really. None of them are really super useful this game. These have to do more, and right now your wards just don't do that much. And again, you're doing the same thing. You're walking from place to place. You're thinking like, I'm behind, I need to farm. Again, line up your earth spikes. Get all the creeps, get all the last hits. You got like 2 last hits there. And I get that you're scared, and you should be, honestly, because they have very good gank potential now. But you know, this is the issue. Like, you didn't really need to be here. You being here actually did nothing. You got experience for it, but it didn't. He didn't get that kill because of you. Basically, the only way that he did was because you left the lane immediately after pressuring it, and he TP'd in to try to kill you because you would have been a super easy kill. That's like the only way that what you did was useful.
Nature's guardian returns.
What'd you get hit by? Was that an arrow or something? That was weird.
You'll hear no more from me.
And of course, if you had Blink Dagger, this could all have been useful. You could have put a Sentry Ward down as you approach. I think you got the arrow, is what happened.
Radiant's top tower is under
You actually accomplished nothing there. You could have Finger of Death. You could just knock on in. It was definitely kind of scary. You could have Smoke approached, for example. That probably would have been better. Where's the Lotus Orb?
Dire's middle tower
Oh,
has
it's
fallen.
Sven. Okay. It was like the weirdest looking items I've seen in a long time, and that's why. So we got Lotus to remove the silences. It's kind of a cool idea, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. It's kind of cool, but these items are terrible. There's no reason to ever get Battle Fear on this hero. You already have so much cleave. Such a waste. This could be like a Daedalus or something. It'd be so much better. Oh, no way. Oh, another Orchid. Well, it's kind of working. You know, if he had a BKB, he could have killed all 3 of these heroes, probably. No way, Storm wasting a lot of mana once again. Alright, where you at? Just walking. Can you approach the draw? Hell no, you can't. Because you know that if you approach it poorly, you're just going to die after you get silenced.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Alright, you found a ward. That's cool. Alright, I like this ward. This is a good ward, finally.
Radiant's middle tower
It actually
is under
spots
attack.
some things. It allows your allies to see potential for ganks. That does something. What do you do now, though? I think what you should do, it's 2 dead heroes, two scary heroes. You could go to the jungle right now, just jungle a little bit. You could approach their jungle with your silencer. I think that would be a decent thing to do. Getting the invis rune, walking in their jungle. I would 100% move to their jungle right now, put a deep ward, like right here. If you do that, you change everything. And then you just sit over here and you farm neutral camps, ideally the one close to your silencer. That way, if they set up a gank on your silencer, in the next 20 seconds, you'll be there. And you have an observer ward down. That's what you should be doing. You do that with an invis ward, or an invis rune, which is kind of cool, but I think you could have done this a little earlier. I really hope, honestly, you're already here, put an observer ward down. Oh, that's actually really unfortunate. I think you did lose your rune. It's not going to show, unfortunately. %, Hex. Instant cast time. You know that they're going to cast a spell on you as soon as your Yule's ends. Cast the instant spell. It's going to help. Also, you could wand right after, because you know you're about to take damage from Tornado. Actually, you already did. You already heals yourself. You could heal yourself for 150 HP and Hex. You didn't really know which way you're facing. And it looks like you wanted to cast on this guy, but now you probably realize you're facing this way. I think the safer move, honestly, is just actually hexing the Invoker. That's kind of kept in hindsight, but if you just hex this guy, then it's a support Venge, who's going to do a shitload of damage because he's got Venge Aura, or Drow Aura, but he won't kill you that fast. If you just hex this guy while you wanded, there's honestly, you'd probably get stunned by the Venge afterwards, but Invoker would be stunned for 4 seconds, Hex for 4 seconds, if he doesn't pop BKB in time. And then as soon as the Venge stuns end, you can just like Earth Spike the Invoker again. You could literally stun Invoker for 6.5 seconds if he doesn't BKB in time. And if you just do that, you just live. You wouldn't die to just Venge alone right-clicking you, unless somebody else popped out and killed you. Changes everything. Instead, you get Orchided, you get Cold Snapped, and it looks like the neutrals are going to kill you again. Okay, so that was alright for you, but that could have instead been a dead Invoker. You'd be alive, and you'd probably get your Finger of Death off instead. So you definitely choked the fight. Wow, that guy does a lot of damage. If anybody in your team actually carried Dust as well, you included, by the way. Could have been you.
They should have run while they had that chance.
This looks like he needs to teleport. Oh, I didn't know you could TP in there. Good for him. So, you're buying Sentry Wars and Obs again. Again, we're 40 minutes into the game. You don't have a Blink Dagger. You're absolutely underperforming on your hero. You'd be better off playing Avenge or something. You can't play heroes like this that require this kind of farm levels if you're not going to get the farm level. It's just going to completely put you behind. I don't think you needed to use their Hex. Okay, perfect. And I probably would have... Let's see how you did this. Alright, you used way too early. You jumped the gun. You did Hex, which is really good. You're also spamming Finger of Death. You could have wanded and possibly ran. Maybe. It's hard to say. He probably would have killed you just because he hit so hard and he had... Actually, he didn't have Drow Aura there, but... like, your team's getting trades, but honestly, your team's getting trades because your allies are outplaying them. Not really because of what you're doing. I genuinely think you got pretty heavily carried this game. If this was a ranked game, I don't think you deserve the win, frankly. But the way you played last game, if you played the way you played last game, this game, or the... Yeah, this is only our second replay. I think you could definitely impact the game in a good way, but this was... Your choices to what to do when you're behind was really bad, and that's definitely something you need to fix as a Dota player, because if you don't fix that, then you're going to have games like these where you super underperform if you don't correctly analyze and play around the way that you should to win a game. Again here, if you had Blink Dagger, you could have gotten the Invoker 100%. You Yule's there to dodge the EMP, which is fine. If you had Blink Dagger, you could also dodged it. Invoker would be dead if you had Blink. I mean, I know you know that, but the way that you reacted to being behind was really not good. It super gimped your team, and it really limited what you're able to do, and I'm sure you could feel that. Like, you know what it's like to have a line with Blink Dagger. Like, that shit's really good. I like your Sentry, that's good. Again, if you had Blink, you could kill that guy. Sitting behind these guys would be good. I put a Sentry down pretty aggressively. I'll put a Sentry down like here. These guys are definitely gonna die. Finger him. Okay. Good. Wand duels there. Let's re-see how you did that.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Alright, first of all, I would have instantly ultied him there. He was already kind of low, and the Venge stun reflected. So I think it would have been good to do that. You also could have Yulesed one of these guys. I would have probably Earth Spike fingered. I would have Yulesed either Prophet or Mirana. I'm not really sure who's more farmed. It's definitely, the bigger damage output is definitely on Prophet here. If you would have Yulesed him, he might have lived. Probably not, but he might have lived. Probably not, but maybe. And instead you completely gimped yourself. Like, look how much you ran up just on your approach there to killing the Avenge. Alright, right here, just ulti him. Instead, you attacked once, you attacked again, you attacked the third time, then you fingered. Just throw the finger out. At some point, you have to just trust yourself and your understanding of your hero and how much HP people have. Like, it's a support, he's going to have low HP. Oh, he just took a Venge stun. He actually took a lot of damage, for example. So you can look at his HP bar right now. I know that he has less than 1,000 damage. So if your Finger of Death is 850, because it's level 3, and you do 260 here, that means you're doing 1100 magic damage, which should mean that you can kill this guy, or be very close. You might have to attack an extra time. But that's why you can easily deal with it. Stun this guy, Finger of Death, Yule's one of them, Hex the other, Sven lives. Or Sven turns around, possibly gets a triple kill if his item build wasn't so fucking bad. If he had, like, lifesteal. If he had literally any lifesteal here, he could have just turned and fought, to be honest. But you could disable all these guys. Stun ulti, Yule's one, Hex the other. 3 disabled heroes. Right-click Avenge like 3 times, you kill him. Maybe Sven runs and you die. Maybe Sven just dies. And I get that you're probably just like, oh, I didn't know. I wasn't sure if I could kill him or not, but it didn't have to be like this. And now Storm goes in, and now Storm just dies as well because he's stupid. But, you know, if you played that correctly, fight absolutely changes. And now you're very close to Blink Dagger. I have a feeling what you're going to do is you're going to respawn. You're going to buy a bunch of support items and be farther away from Blink. And I'm really hoping that you don't do that. I knew it! I fucking knew it. Don't do this. You're so close, dude. You're still gimping yourself. You're probably saying, like, I gotta be a good support. I gotta be a good support. It doesn't matter what I do. I gotta be a good support. That's not true. Sometimes you gotta not be a good support. If you are literally 200 gold away from the item that completely changes your hero, be a little greedy. You respawn, you grab the gem off the ground, you walk to a neutral camp, you farm 1 camp, or you could just TP the bot lane, push out the bot lane, buy your Blink Dagger on the side shop. You're done. It's done. Instead, you're saying, I need to get a level. You don't need to get a level. Once you're over 16, you don't need a level anymore. Once you hit level 16 on support, extra levels are kind of irrelevant depending on your hero. For Lion, let's see what you get out of this extra level. This is 150 gold. Delaying your blink by 150 gold, by the way. You have 1.7 strength, and that means you're going to get like 35 HP from your next level. You're going to get like 1.5 of 7 armor, which is really bad. That's like 3/14 armor. It's pretty weak. And you're going to increase your int by 3. So 36 more mana and 3 more right click damage. Is that worth it? For delaying your Blink Dagger by another 200 gold? Hell no, it's not. Damn it. It's not worth it. Get these last hits, damn it. Shouldn't be missing any last hits. 0 last hits. And then because you missed last hits, you could have your Blink Dagger right now. 3 more last hits, you got your Blink Dagger. Fly your Blink Dagger out to you. I don't know, put your wand down, put your TPs down, ditch the Observer Wards, I don't know. You even having this gem without having a Blink Dagger is also just really... Same problem, man. Adjust your hero position, stun multiple units. You're not farming as fast as you could be because you're not using your AoEs to hit the maximum amount of things. This right here is what you should be doing every single time. You see how many last hits you got just now? You got every range creep. We'll see what you drop for it. Observer Ward. I'm cool with that. Yeah, you've got gems, so this doesn't matter. Okay. I would probably have walked top maybe and pushed 1 more wave. That way just guarantees that it pushes out, assuming nobody goes to it. But it looks like Tiny will handle that as well. So at this point in the game, we can basically talk about the game as a hero, because now you finally have the items that you need. So what your guys' plan is, push lanes out, that way they can't split push you, and then you take map control, you take Roche, which is exactly what you guys just did, and then again push lanes after the Roche is taken, because they should have split pushed during this. And then once the creep waves are all kind of close to their tower, you can either take a team fight as you're pushing the waves, or a gank, or you can just force a high ground team fight, which I think you guys can do with Blink Daggers. Alright, let's see how you play out this fight. Alright, that was perfect. You double blinked. I didn't think you were going to get that blink off in time. I was quite sure you weren't, in fact. But you did it. So that was perfect. You have 2 solutions to that. Finally, the Yules is basically useful. The blink was a great effort. That was good. I'm actually so surprised you were able to turn in time and blink backwards. Actually. I'm pretty sure you still have to turn to double blink. I'm actually going to go back and look at this because I'm curious. Alright, Prophet, let's come. Oh, he attacked a range creep, I think. I think that's what he did. He attacked the range creep instead of you after the Orchid, possibly from auto attack. Yeah. Yeah, your hero did turn. Alright. So he messed up mostly. But But either way, even if he hit you, you could have used yourself and then blinked after a half second after that. You would have been fine. That was good. You guys got a big kill. You can use this to push in mid. Everybody should be here on your team. Looking for wards is good. I would maybe like you to walk over here, check for a ward on this area, and maybe if you had Force Staff, you could blink on this cliff and check to see if they had a ward there as well. Looks like they're actually all invis, but you're not in the area. You changed your hotkeys, so you're confused on your hotkeys, which is why you used to yourself, so I understand that. Okay, that was not a good global silence, I think. If any of you had a Glimmer Cape or a Force Staff, by the way, Storm, you don't even have to pop global. So that's why I think Glimmer is so good, or Force. Basically, your 3 items should pretty much always be Blink, Force, Glimmer, unless you need a Ghost Scepter, and maybe in a rare case where you need a Yules, but honestly, I really don't like the Yules very much. I'm not a huge fan at all. That was really well done. Oh, you messed up your stun stacking completely. What you got to do in moments like these is say, come, somebody come, somebody come. So let's look at his stun duration. Alright, that was approximately 3 seconds of wasted Hex. Basically completely stacking everything. What you can do is you can just disable this guy for so long that somebody TPs, even if it takes like 4 or 5 seconds. Hex him for 4 seconds, follow him, make sure the frog doesn't get away. And then you can Yules him or something. I think it's probably better to do or spike into Yules, actually. Technically, the best thing you could have done there, in my opinion, is Spike first. I'm only saying this for, I'm going to talk about like maximizing your disable in cases like these. Because again, Lion's purpose at this point in the game is disable somebody for so long that somebody on your team is able to get there and kill them. You've got decent damage, but you're mostly a disabling hero. So if you catch a split pusher like this, you just get on voice chat and be like, somebody TP, we got to kill, we got to kill. Because every time you do this, your team gets massive gold advantage. So hypothetically, the best thing to do, because the cooldown is lowest, is Spike first. Actually, they're the same. It's the same as Hex. Okay, it doesn't matter then. I forgot that it's 12:04. So this is fine then. Hex first. Wait 4 seconds. As his Hex is ending, you drop the Spike. That's 2.6 seconds of disable, and then you Yules him, which would put you up to 6.6 plus 2.5, which is 9.1 seconds of disable. You get 9.1 seconds of disable on this Prophet, waiting for somebody to show up, and then boom. You should be able to, do magical things. You started mana draining him, you fingered him. It looks like you're just going to die now, I think. Okay. Yep, you're kind of just dead. Yeah, you messed that up pretty bad. Mostly your allies didn't go there, but honestly you did also not stack your skills very well. And then your Sven completely choked over here, so he did buy BKB at least. But again, quit getting overly excited. You're choking your stun stacking. Alright, the gem was in the base. I would have grabbed it, brought it with you. Buying sentries is alright, but I would prefer that you just don't. Looks like you're buying Ags. Absolutely disagree with this. Ags only increases your damage by 175. It's terrible in terms of single target damage. Yes, it will cleave. Yes, it will increase your cast range. Actually, I don't know if it does that. It does give you the area of effect, and it reduces your cooldown by 20 seconds. It's not that good, though. Really not that good. The stats that an Ags give you is pretty good, but you're better off getting, again, one of those other items. Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, Ghost Scepter, one of those, 100%. Especially this game, with how many right clicks they have. If you had a Ghost Scepter, you could have just Ghost Sceptered yourself when the Prophet or Bloodthorns you, and then as soon as the Bloodthorn ends, you probably have another disable up. You could honestly kind of endlessly just disable the Prophet if you stand near him with a gem. Get more hotkeys. You shouldn't be mouse clicking. Good initiation there. Only difference is, first of all, don't Finger of Death. That was a huge waste. If I don't know if you knew this guy had a Lincoln's or not. What you should be doing, as soon as you get an item like either Force or Yules, what you should be doing to initiate, you should blink. You should use either Force or Yules to break the Lincolns and then instantly Hex. So there's basically no way to defend that unless they see you coming or they're insanely fast reaction time. So blink, Force to break the Lincolns, and then Hex. Instant disable. It's like the Lincolns will pop and then they'll instantly get hexed. So that's one nice thing about the Yules that you have here. He was really slow to react, and you're also super overkill with the Finger of Death. That guy was going to die, and if he wasn't, Silencer was going to cast on him. Huge waste. Not a huge waste, I guess, because it's pretty low cooldown. You've got mana regen or whatever, but you definitely should be a little careful. It's a huge amount of your mana pool. You got to be careful wasting it. Alright, you're fine. It's back off cooldown. But you definitely have wasted it multiple times this game. Just poor game sense, kind of. I would have put a ward down here, so you can see. Wow, that guy's really bad. Again, don't Earth Spike to initiate. If you had a Force Staff, you'd be alive right now. If you had a Ghost Scepter, you'd be alive right now. 100%. Point Booster Ags doesn't save you there. Well, this guy's actually doing stuff. That's cool. If you had any lifesteal, he'd be doing more stuff. You could have Glimmer. You could have Force Staff. Force Staff saves your allies. It saves you. Kind of just saves everybody. It's really good. Okay. Wow, he went E-Blade. Interesting. This guy did a really good job of not ever dying. Kind of impressive. He's also an asshole. So I'm guessing you go to buy your items. I assume this is... What did you just sell? Did you just sell your wand for a point booster? I'm not a fan of that at all, actually. This gives you 80 HP. Yeah, 80 HP, not to mention the armor, not to mention the int. Your armor goes down. You increase your HP by 175. You increase your mana by 175. So health increase of 175 when your wand already gives you 80 is basically like a double the HP value of the wand. But if you pop your full charge wand, it gives you like 270 HP or something. It's way more than point booster. Absolutely not worth it to trade this out. If you wanted to hold a piece of your items, you buy the point booster, you put it here, and you keep your wand until your ags is completed. I do this all the time. I really don't recommend holding solo parts of your ags like this. Your items are terrible now, actually. You just had a huge degrade in quality. It would have been so much better just to have a wand, TP scroll, observer wards. Now you're just filling your inventory up with little shitty items that give you 10 more strength or 10 more int. These are not very useful at all. Eggs is one of the worst build-ups in the game for a lot of characters. There's honestly a lot of heroes it's just not good on. Your spell usage there was pretty good. But now you're basically going to have a Blink, Yules, Ags, Tranquils. You still don't have TPs, you still don't have Observer Wards, you don't have a Dust of Appearance, you're not holding a gem. Your inventory completely dropped quality just now. I like that you farmed these, that was good. Almost got your Ags. I like that you're farming in a place close to your allies, that's really good. I don't know if you guys... Okay, you do have the gem, apparently. I was a little greedy, but I guess they have a dead hero, so it's not a big deal. I would definitely go for a high ground ward. I think that's important. They do have a ward right here, nicely done by them. Although you do have a gem, so we'll see. Mana Drain illusions. You should know these are illusions. That guy's really dead. Mana Drain one-shots illusions. You could put a ward down as you're retreating. Don't put it up there. Damn it. Too easy to de-ward. Too obvious. That was good. I like your Blink Escape. I don't like your Blink Escape anymore. If you had a TP, by the way, you could easily get out. Yeah, I like the idea of you going back in. I think I would go on Prophet, though. I think... Oh, that was a huge mistake. You gotta read the team fight. I liked you going back in, especially with Storm showing up. But you should know that Prophet's in the area because he was chasing you. Also, your Storm's kind of bad because he does stupid shit like this where he'll jump super far. He'll waste one of his abilities to break Lincoln's, and then he pulls somebody really far away. This only works if he's right on top of him because then his Remnant would do more damage. But he's bad at that. And you should read the team fight. As soon as there's 3 heroes here, in my opinion, this is fucking crazy. And right now, you can... I don't know if your monitor's wide or not, but Prophet's here. Like, you saving the Storm Spirit is just a really low chance because he didn't buy BKB. So... And you still have to worry about right clicks because Drow hits so hard. If you would have gone on the Prophet instead and Storm suicided there, you could have killed the Prophet with the Tiny, and then you guys both probably could have gotten out. Instead, you just die. And you're still waiting on your eggs, by the way. Your net worth's still very low also. You should be a little bit higher, I think. You should be around where Silencer is, in my opinion, if you're playing an effective line game.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
If you had Ghost Scepter, you'd be alive. If you had a lot of stuff. It's too bad you didn't get close enough. Oh, we got him. Alright, let's see what you're doing. You are in base watching your allies because you didn't realize you're alive. Still leaving the base without a TP. You can't do that, no reason. Just a teleport scroll, man. You got space. Doesn't matter, your egg is almost completed. You like ditched all of your items because you're building something that has a lot of pieces in it. Again, stun you in a melee creep wave instead of the whole creep wave.
Radiant's top barracks has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower
Yeah, this is definitely game is way sloppier than your previous one. It wasn't even close.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Looks like you guys are gonna win this fight. Alright, good, like the Hex.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Did you hear something?
You can go back in 2 seconds.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack. Radiant's bottom
Definitely, I would definitely have hexed the Prophet there. That was really dangerous. Or you could use him. Or what you can do is, you blink to the wrong place. Let's go back 10 seconds.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Did you hear something?
This is the kind of stuff you should always be looking for. Look at these guys right now. You have an AoE stun. It's a line stun, but it's an AoE. And look at how you could approach this. Your blink range is pretty far. You can get them right now. You just need to see where they're going and blink in a way and target the ground in a way that's going to catch 2 heroes instead of just 1. And you can do this by hero targeting too. If you just blink like right over here and you target the invoker, you get 2 in a stun, disable 2 heroes for 2.6 seconds. That is literally doubling the stun duration that your skill normally gets, which makes it way stronger. And if you do that, they're also grouped up. You could then Finger of Death 2 heroes. Instead, what you did is you blinked in a position which threads the needle and also puts you in a lot of danger because you're probably going to disable. The only way this is okay is if you disable one and then disable the other right away before they cast spells on you. So to do that, you'd probably have to blink Hex one and Eul's the other. And then maybe like try to somehow line up for the Earth Spike in time, but it's difficult to do that. So you kind of choke this pretty bad. Blink this way, line them up, get 2 stuns, maybe you get an AoE Finger of Death, and then your Sven can walk forward and get a kill. Like, even right here, this guy could have just been right-clicking you the whole time. You're not strong. Like, you've got Warcry, so you're actually really strong right now, but without Warcry, you're really vulnerable when it goes away, for example. Now you're down to 9 armor, 12 armor total. If you just shot Hex this guy instantly, like, actually instantly. Let me see if that's who I think it is. I think I know who that is. Yeah. I think that was Blitz. Wants to play low priority. I think we got one more replay to poke through. But yeah, all this stuff really matters. Ghost Scepter again would have kept you alive. Force Staff would have kept you alive. In my last line game that I played, I built an Aether Lens because I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I'm doing really well. Let's buy a really expensive item. But honestly, just getting the basic stuff is almost always worth it online. Force Staff, Glimmer, Blink Dagger, Ghost Scepter. That's your dream right there. Grab like a Boots of Travel maybe and a gem or some wards or some shit, and you're pretty much set. It's kind of unfortunate that he doesn't really scale as well mid-game because Ags isn't really an option. You need all these other mobility things because your hero's weak on survivability, but that's just the reality of playing line. Your disable is so good that it would be really OP if your hero was also tanky. So you have to deal with that with mobility. Always readjusting where your hero's positioned. That way you're always in a good spot to get kills and not die. So let's hop in the last game really quick. Alright, so last one coming here. I think we'll go a little bit faster than this through this one since we covered a lot of the same principles.
30 seconds.
Again, I think your laning stage is pretty darn good.
The battle
Like your first like 6 to 8 minutes is pretty good, I would say. Whoa, you made huge mistakes. I think you wrote about this one. I think you said you misclicked. You pressed some hotkey twice or something and accidentally popped a smoke and skilled mana drain, which looks pretty crap. That's unfortunate. And now you can mana drain him, right? Unfortunately, this guy's not a dumbass, and he actually grabbed a really good skill for trading with you. Okay, and it's a dual lane. Well, this is kind of a really crappy start. As soon as it becomes a dual lane, though, I think you go back and start pulling immediately. It's a Pudge, you know, like Pudge is typically can be played in an off lane, can be played as like a I don't get as much farm as normal mid. He's really about the experience. So I think if you just ditch him and it instantly went back and pulled here, I think that would have been really okay for you guys. And then he would hit 2 a little bit faster. You would hit 2 pretty fast. Oh, and then he's going to land the most epic of hooks, which guarantees your team a kill. That was really good. All right, cool. Now you salve. I would go back and pull. Again, you're going to miss your pull. Again, you keep prioritizing creep denies over pulling. That's absolutely the wrong way to look at it. You should only do that if you first look at the pull. Priority number 1, pull. If there's nothing to pull, or you don't have time to pull, or it's not the right time to pull, then you deny creeps. That's your thing. If you went back and pulled right now, this creep wave would die. This creep wave would be right here hitting creeps. You'd be getting experience. You'd connect the pull. You deny an entire creep wave experience. Instead, These two heroes are going to get this entire creep wave of experience because you didn't go back and pull, and instead you went to deny. You're basically doing anti-equilibrium things, is what you're doing. Instead, you should be pulling. You will eventually pull, but you've already missed a pull. That is a full creep wave that your opponents have now gotten. I guarantee it gave them at least half of a level each, and they probably got at least 2 to 3 of the last hits, maybe 4. That's 200 gold. You just gave your teammates, your opponents, potentially 150, 200 gold advantage. You gave them half of a level each, and you limited your experience gain, which is something that they're going to use later on in this laning stage as they try to kill you. Alright, pull through looks like it'll be okay. You might have to do an aggro here. Yep, and you basically did. That's perfect. This will aggro as long as they don't mess up the pull. You're set. Alright, cool. Only thing is I would maybe keep an eye on Pudge just to see if they're looking to dive him. And in moments like these as well, this is super dangerous actually. He could have fissure blocked you off from here, and it would have forced you to run up, and then if they had shrapnel as well, you definitely would have died. This is wrong. Don't get Hex. I really think two Earth Spikes here is better, even if you do normally get Hex, because you're pretty much, you want efficiency in your skills. If you go 1-1-1, yeah, you've got mana drain, I know is a mistake, but now your Earth Spike still sucks. Your level 3 and Earth Spike still does 1.1 second. It only does 80 damage. Instead, what you could do, for example, is over the course of the laning stage, you could cast, like, what happens if you cast Earth Spike like 4 times in a row right now? Like, maybe the Hex saves somebody or gets you a kill, but if you just keep spamming Earth Spike on enemy heroes, you're going to do way more damage, 60 more damage. That's like 8% more damage than it would have done. It's going to cost you 20% more mana, and it's going to stun for like 50% longer. So your mana ratio, your mana efficiency with 2 skill points is so much better than 1 skill point. And for that reason, I feel like it's not very worth it to get the Hex point. Again, same problem. 2 heroes in lane, you're not really zoning them, you're not really last hitting. If you last hit these creeps, I would say stay in the lane. Instead, go back and pull. You missed your pull. Boom. 2 pulls now that you missed. Or 4 minutes in, you missed 2 pulls. Just pull. Or at least stack. Alright, instead Pudge is going to continue doing amazing things, but that's actually so game winning that he hooks like that. I think Earthshaker is their better player. Wow. This Pudge is actually fucking owning. He is like actually super owning. That's really good. Alright, whoa, what is this? What the hell is this? Oh, you bought your boots and base? Okay, you're messing this up big time. Don't buy the Ring of Regen here. I know it's better than the Ring of Protection. It gives you more. You're missing a little bit of HP. You're getting a little low in tangos. You're flying out your boots. Fly out the Ring of Protection. That way, when you get your next 325 gold, or your next 175 gold, then instantly your tranquils are finished. Instead, you're forcing the courier, which is already bringing you boots, to come back later to bring you a Ring of Protection to finish your Ring of your tranquil boots. Completely inefficient. Completely inefficient here. And again, it's 5 minutes here. Just finally. Okay, you're pulling. You're good. Never mind. You did do that one wrong. Remember what I talked about for the Ursas? If you know you're late, what you should do is, let's look at free camera so we can see exactly where the troll is. It's still pretty far back here. The range is somewhere around this. So that means you should stand here, because by moving over here, by the time the troll gets to about this position, he will be able to attack you. And then the creep wave is going to be somewhere like this. And then that will allow you to create an AoE of aggro. Instead, you ran straight to the way, and you kind of tried to get close to them, but you're still out of the range. Instead, if you're standing here, the troll would have attacked you, it would have aggroed, and they would have ran around this way. Instead, you got 3 creeps, but you could have gotten 4, and it only barely worked, I would say. So you did pull, which is good. I like that you auto-attacked, you missed some last hits, but at least you got the experience, that's good. And, of course, it denied the experience from them. Earthshaker just now picking up level 4. Interesting, you just skip in Aftershock. A very interesting choice. Huge mistake here. See this creep that just died? No experience. Instead, look at the creep wave. Walk left while you're last hitting. That way, it catches your experience wave. You would be closer to 6 because of that. Should be no creeps in lane that don't give experience. Oh wow, Pudge is back in the lane. You know what she would be doing? Going to prep to pull every time. Like maybe the only reason that this lane has gone well, honestly, is because he keeps landing these glory hooks, hooking people under the tower, and then you guys kill him afterwards because you're there for a disable. So you being there is cool, but I personally would absolutely not trust this guy at this MMR at all. This could be a kill easily, by the way. You should have hexed first. Alright, now this gets really tough. First mistake. I think you should hex first. I know that he can move when he's hexed, but by hexing him first, it would make it pretty clear to the Pudge that you're going on him. So if you just hex him first and right-click him a few times, and then you land an Earth Spike after the hex finishes, then Pudge gets a guaranteed hook. If you Earth Spike first, while you're using your best disable, the one where he's not moving, Pudge is going to have to use some of his reaction time during this. So let's see how long it takes him to react. Right now, Pudge is reacting right now. He said, oh wow, he's stunned. Look at this. He reacted instantly. As soon as your Earth Spike came out, he reacted. But the problem is that now he's not in the best position. And there's honestly just a chance that he's not going to be in the right position. What he should have ran is this way and then landed the hook this way. Would have been better. So right now, there's only like 1 second to disable left. He pretty much has to hook almost immediately. But now because he's late because he ran around the creep, he did this slightly inefficiently. But honestly, Hex first, stun afterwards, then Pudge will land the hook. And even then, it's a little iffy. It's an Earthshaker, man. He's got a really good strength gain. So you killing this guy is very low chance. Because if you don't kind of kill him before he gets undisabled, then you're just probably not going to kill him anyways. And then he lands a fissure on 2 of you guys, and now, okay, he was stupid, so you're going to be able to kill the Earthshaker anyways. But also, adjust your camera there. Don't be so scared. That guy's dead. Sniper was really low, but look at Sniper's level. He's only level 4. You've killed him twice in lane. You should know that you're stronger than him. You could have potentially walked up forward there and maybe gotten the kill. Pudge ended up getting that, but you got scared way too early there. You should have read the situation while retreating and then adjusted. That way, if you're running, you can at least look to see like, hey, maybe I'm making a mistake, and you're not going to know that unless you move your camera. So now you're starting your pull. Hey, you've got Tranquil Boots. That's cool. But you have to fly it all the way from base because you didn't fly out your Ring of Protection, which, to be honest, possibly would have kept you with more HP than this Ring of Regen did because 2 armor could have done more. Careful on your camera here. This is a super easy kill. Alright, remember what I told you game 1? Right click, then stun. When that guy's way out of position and there's no way he's getting away, and he's probably not even going to stun you, right click, then stun. Doesn't matter here, but when somebody's that out of position, you should min-max when you know that you can abuse it. Alright, Tranquils are finally up here. I would get a TP scroll. I would maybe get a magic stick. I think that was greedy because there's a really high chance they saw you place that ward down. Right click that catapult. Get that catapult. That's a free last hit. There you go. I would also consider mana draining the range creep. I think you should have mana drained that range creep. 80 mana, or sorry, 100 mana would put you 100 closer to having a full combo. And now you got your Tranquils coming out. Again, look what you did. You just spent 450 gold buying a magic wand. Finishing your magic wand. Instead, you could have had almost 800 gold. And you've almost got full mana, which means you can pretty much just solo kill the sniper easily. He's only got 680 HP. And if Pudge is still in the lane, that guy just dies. You should be here. And you shouldn't spend your money just yet. It's not time. A wand is probably not going to save you versus a sniper and an Earthshaker. Like, is this guy even casting that many spells? Does a sniper cast shrapnel? You haven't seen any of that yet. So it's probably not worth it. This is good. I like that you shifted over to the creep wave instead. I would have hit the range creep once here, I think. Should guarantee all these last hits. Can't miss those. It's so costly. It's even more costly now that you bought a wand, which, by the way, is just sitting in the stash. This could have been just gold in your bank. You don't have to buy it right away. You could have just let it sit there. So it's like, hey, maybe I'm actually not sure if I would have stunned here 100%. Last hit, and then you would have done damage to the Earthshaker. If you would have just stunned right there, you could have gotten 2 last hits and right-click the Earthshaker twice for free. Free harass. And if you look at his items, he has no more regen. So yeah, free harass, put him at like 70%. Maybe you drain, maybe you pop your clarity or your clarity's gone. But maybe you get a mana drain in later, and then later when he comes back to the creep wave, you get a solo kill. But you don't know that because you're not harassing him down to the point where you could actually kill him. I know it's a little scary with the sniper, but it's just getting worse and worse because the closer sniper gets to 6, everything changes. Once he hits 6, then they actually can solo kill you. And I see that you're just pinging your cooldowns. You're like, hey, let's just go kill these guys. Definitely walk past the creep wave. All right, you lost, maybe lost opportunity. I really hope Puck doesn't reveal. Okay, that was really stupid. Now they should back if they're not stupid. Puck should have just waited. You're also missing a lot of last hits here. Catapult, hit twice, or once. By the way, you'd be up to 1,000 gold and 50 right now. Definitely Hex. Okay, yeah, he's good. That was alright, you just misplayed it really bad. Right now, Sniper's fucked. He's dead. There's no way that he lives. Pudge has Rot. He has Dismember. He's fucked. Hex this guy instantly. Prevent a fissure. Prevent Dismember from getting cancelled. Whole fight's over. Instead, what'd you do? You said, let's kill the sniper. We gotta kill the sniper. Doesn't matter, guy. This is a sniper. He's got 800 HP. This is a Pudge that's been wrecking all game. He's level 7. He's got his ultimate. That's a dead-ass sniper. As soon as he got hooked, he's dead. You don't even need to walk this close. As soon as you pop out from here, you instantly hex the Earthshaker. This guy dies instantly. Puck was also here, by the way. This guy dies instantly. and then after 2.5 seconds, you Spike him, all while you're right-clicking him, and then as Sniper dies, these guys shift over, you Finger of Death, 50 damage of Rot, and Earthshaker dies. Instead, this got way harder. Like, look at the difference here. You're now trying to kill Earthshaker when he's this close to a tower. If Earthshaker's instead right here, then this guy TPs, such a little chance of him getting away. Like, look where Pudge is right now. Pudge could have been here right now, hitting Earthshaker with Rot. Instead, you let him run all the way over here because you didn't react to the fight fast enough. And now Invoker gets a TP in and actually react to you guys. He got disables off. There was a small chance there that he actually got a kill. By the way, you'd be up to a total of 1,400 gold right now, which is pretty much time to greed my Blink Dagger territory. You're at it. You're definitely at greed the Blink Dagger territory. So, creep waves, this is kind of dangerous positioning. I would just pull. That's good. Do some pulling. Get them last hits. Hopefully this guy doesn't steal your last hits. Timbersaw is rotating over, which is interesting. But continue pulling. Creep waves to kill. You got a Blink Dagger to build, dude. This guy's ganking in a shit way. And right now, you're not going to get this kill. If you guys get this kill, these guys are fucking awful. And that's the only reason you get this kill. Okay, you didn't get the kill. You wasted 15 seconds. Completely wasted your time. That was 2 last hits you could have gotten. That's 2 creeps of experience. That's like this experience you could have had. Just wasted your time. Got to read those situations and know when it's not the right time. Like, you saved this guy's life, but if you just backed off and went to farm, he wouldn't have gone that ham anyways. And instead, look what you just did. You just mana drained a creep. You could have been over here getting last hits. That was like 6 creeps that died. That would have been your Blink Dagger right here. You could have had Blink Dagger 13 minutes, guaranteed. Even with your last hitting potential, if you didn't have this buy those magic wand components, you just had an Ironwood branch there. You could have been standing in lane. You could have gotten like 4 of those last hits, and you would have been at 1,800 gold right now. And yeah, maybe sometimes... Oh, God, this guy's bad. Alright, that guy's really bad. I think this is the point in the game where you say, alright, I don't trust this guy anymore, and I'm not going to rely on him at the slightest. Like, you're literally messing up your whole early game just because this guy is attempting really stupid ganks. You have to understand, like, what's going to work, what's not going to work. And that's something you had a lot of trouble with in game 1. You ran places to, like, attempt ganks that were super sloppy, and if the players were remotely good, they easily would have survived. But instead, you spent time on it. Instead, you could have been farming, getting last hits, getting levels, getting a fast Blink Dagger, so that your ganks are easy and guaranteed. And the same thing, Timber shows up in the lane, he says, let's go try to kill Sniper. How are you going to do it? You have to initiate with a Hex. And so that requires you to get in Hex range. And then you have to Earth Spike. And then Timber has to do his combo, which is possible, but only if you go first. So if Timber leads first, you've already messed up. Timber led first, you spotted a hero, and he just walked away. And the only reason you got close to it was because he landed a Chakram for the slow. The 5 to 20% slow that his Chakram provided that allowed you to get in range of a Earth Spike when Sniper was already under tower. So if you're going to attempt ganks, do it in a way that's going to be effective. If you don't, you're giving yourself a super high chance of just wasting 40 seconds and getting you behind, when instead you could have just been standing by the tower and last hitting 6 creeps to guarantee your Blink Dagger. This is that balance that you need to perfect if you're playing line support. If you don't do it right, you're going to have games like the last one where you get Yule Scepter and get your Blink Dagger 35 minutes, when instead you could just had Blink Dagger right now or within 2 minutes. You've had a great early game. You're 1-0 and 6. You're pulling when you need to, but you're listening to your dumb allies, and you're doing things that don't have a high chance to get you a gank off. And I also would have probably spammed this down, maybe even used your nuke on it, honestly. It's good. Right-click the range creep once. You're too late. As soon as you pull the creep wave past and the creep that he's attacking dies, he's going to attack the range creep. Instantly, you stop moving. You tank like 3 right-clicks from the creeps. Right-click the range creep, hits it the second time, boom. You got yourself a last hit. And again, you're forcing yourself on denying. You're focusing way too much on denying. Look at this. Why are you buying a Tome of Knowledge? You're delaying your Blink Dagger. Yes, it's going to give you a level, but you've already got all your levels. Once Lion hits like level 7, you are fucking set, bro. You are set. What you should be doing, if you're not going to sit and farm this lane, the only other thing that I'd recommend doing is TPing to a lane, popping a smoke with the ally, getting a kill on like an important mid-hero or carry, and then you immediately go back to farming. That's the only thing that I prefer you do over farming here. So if you're going to buy like a Tome of Knowledge to get levels, it's absolutely not worth it. All it's going to do is give you slightly higher HP, slightly higher mana, and a slightly higher mana drain. Instead, get your fucking Blink Dagger. Just get it. Get it done. 14 minutes. Do your pulling, do your farming, put an occasional ward down in the lane. But most importantly, please God, get your Blink Dagger. And once you get that Blink Dagger, everything changes. I don't think I can handle watching this game anymore, no offense. I think this game was much, much better than your second game. And now you're approaching a gank. I like your position. You're in a place where you can actually impact a tower dive. But unfortunately, your allies are going to have to run over. Okay, it worked. That was great, honestly. I really liked what you did there. That was great. That's a great thing to do. Get your ultimate on cooldown. But you should be able to do that while having your Blink Dagger. You should absolutely have your Blink Dagger right now. Again, 450 gold. Even with all of the running around with Timber that you did, that wasted 40 seconds and like 300 gold here. If you did everything you did and didn't buy a magic wand, you would have an extra 400 gold right now. You'd be at 1777, even with the Tome of Knowledge that you bought. You'd be at 1777. You'd be 400 gold. Once you get to that 1300 to 1600 range, look at your gold value and be like, hey, I'm pretty close to Blink Dagger. It's time to prioritize my Blink Dagger. And I 100% guarantee you could get there. You really choked here as well by mana draining the creep. Let's look at your perspective instead. Let's see what you could see. Like, you didn't even move your camera down. Like, if your Pudge is running into a tower like that, man. Like, you even saw the hero. Instead, you went to mana drain. Absolutely the wrong move. Look at your team's lineup. You have very weak disables. It's basically like hook, dismember, and that's about it. All you had to do was walk forward, Earth Spike after his dismember, and then you got yourself a kill. Because he just would have hooked him afterwards. You would have done 260 damage. He wouldn't have gotten the wind run off. Your Pudge would have hooked him afterwards for like an insane amount of pure damage, 360. Wind Ranger dies. Just move your camera a little bit more. That's a pretty rare mistake for you, I feel. You're pretty good about that compared to most players at 3k. But I guarantee that Timber wouldn't have died there if it wasn't for that. And you guys just would have killed the Windrunner instantly, and then you just would have taken the tower. Instead, the whole game gets harder and changes. Not sure I'm a big fan of that. Hex him instantly, and then wand and run. You're definitely going to die. You definitely should have wanded. If you're going to buy a wand, man, you got to at least use it. Come on. But I wouldn't have even bothered stunning the OD. I think I would have just TP'd out. That was kind of greedy. It only would have worked if the Jug, if you like yelled on voice, like, Jug, turn, let's fight, we got this. And then you killed him right away. That's the only way that's worth it. And now look how much the game has changed. Like where we were from a moment ago. If you just killed the Wind Ranger right there, you guys take the tier 1 tower, they lose almost all of their map control. You guys have huge advantage. Instead, Timber dies. They get gold. You don't take the tier 1 tower. Now you're over here. You die. Pudge dies. And now they're going to take your tier 1 tower. Completely different momentum swing in this game. Like, if you're playing against players that are moderately better than you, the whole game ends right here. Instead, you could have just closed them out, basically. Map control, wards in their jungle, pressured bot lane next, gotten advantage there because you already had advantage. Now the whole game changes. You do defend the tier 1 tower or whatever, but it could have happened there if they were better or something. I don't know. That's my excuse. Now let's see what you're doing. It's definitely momentum time. Looks like you bought more items. Smokes are really good at this point. Your opponents are actually warding and in good places, so they're spotting all your rotations. The places you guys should be playing around is probably their safe lane. You should be all the way down here, messing around with your allies. You've got a bad Timber Saw that's repeatedly dying, but you could group down here with your allies. Like, get a smoke going with 3 heroes, you Jug +1 or something. Or just you and Pudge is really good. Smoke, go somewhere, Hex, into Dismember, into Earthspike Hook, somebody dies, and then maybe you need Finger of Death. That's what you guys should be doing. And instead you're doing that thing where you kind of just run around the map and don't know what to do. You're kind of just reacting to things. And it looks like you're actually going to be effective. I think you ground stun there. That was really good. You'll have to Finger. Oh, nice. He had a Dagon. Cool. He doesn't have a Blink, though. But he's going to Blink, so it's alright. It's too bad you can get that disabled. That would have been really good. He does have vision of you, though, so it's going to be a little hard. He's going to have to hook, I think. But the ward possibly scouts it. You were kind of really ditching your Invoker here. As soon as he runs in, you got to go. You waited way too long, in my opinion. Oh, okay, you got Tornado. That's the main reason, but you were a little slow. Okay, again, you did stun first. I think that was all right. Used your wand. Could have your Blink Dagger, of course, but you delayed it again, buying like wards and stuff. And I just really think you could be so much farther ahead right now. You really could. Now you're all the way down at... Oh, you got a tower or something. How'd you get gold just now? You got a bunch of gold. And again, you bought another fucking experience tome, dude. You're making this game so hard on yourself. This level doesn't matter. The blink matters. The blink changes everything. All right, I think we watched enough. I think I've covered a lot of the stuff. I'm mostly nitpicking small fights now, but I think you got the concepts there. Stop delaying your blink. You're playing line wrong if you're delaying your blink. Your blink is so important. It changes fucking everything about this hero because of his ability to gank, his ability to instantly initiate, his ability to solo kill many heroes who are low HP, or you plus any other hero is almost always a kill if the game is anywhere close to even and your carry or a mid is next to you. The game changes. Stop buying these items. Buy your wards and stuff, but skimp a little. Just skimp a little. Buy like a ward, buy a sentry, a smoke, a dust. Don't finish your magic wand if you're having a good early game. You have every single fucking game that you play, you have a good early game, pretty much. Every single game. The second game, you even had a good early game. You're like 0-0-3. You're consistent early game. You know how to pull. You know about when to pull. Sometimes you forget, but mostly you're good. But you gotta greed out your blink, and then your whole game changes. Because then what you need to focus on and learn better is what to do mid game, how to pressure, where to ward when you're pressuring. Like these wards are good. I like these wards. But you gotta learn. You gotta have the blink dagger to back up the ability to pressure. Because then otherwise you're just a line standing around waiting to walk into a gank or walk into a good initiation. So be more efficient with your early time, be a little bit more greedy, moderately more greedy. Then once you get blink or once you get 6, transition into ganking a lot. Only buy experience tomes if you have blink, or if you're really delayed on your 6 or you're about to get your 6 and you could get your 6 and turn that into a gank. If you buy an experience tome, turn it into a 6 or turn it into a gank. If you're above 6 or if you're above 7, don't buy experience tomes until you have your blink. Get that fucking blink dagger, dude. It's going to make way bigger difference than an extra level. I promise you. And then prioritize that thing. Stop buying items when you're at 1400 gold. Just go fucking farm it. Or set up a gank. Those are the best ways to get gold. Get a smoke, group of 2 heroes, go gank somewhere. Guarantee you'll get 200 gold from that. And then you can farm a neutral camp after. And then you can farm like push out a creep wave by yourself and get 4 last hits for every creep wave. And all of a sudden your blink is done within 2 minutes. Like literally the gold you have right now. If you buy a smoke and you group with 3 heroes and you guys get a 2-for-nothing team fight and then you take a tower afterwards and then you go to a creep wave and farm like 2 creep waves, you literally have your blink dagger. It's done. You're only 650 gold away, 750 gold away. That's it. 2 kills is going to minimum get you 200 gold for assists. A tower kill is going to give you another 200 gold. That's 400. And then 2 neutral camps is going to give you about 600. Blink's done, plus trickle gold. Game's over. Blink's done, pressure a whole map. Everybody's screwed. OD's screwed. Invoker's screwed. Earthshaker's screwed. They're all screwed. This offlane Earthshaker who had an awful early game has almost got his blink dagger, and you don't have your set. And maybe you bought way more support items. But yeah, maybe you bought way more support items. But I guarantee that this guy was being more efficient with his time. I could kind of tell based on the way he played the laning stage. I'm sure he's way better at laning than you, possibly higher MMR. So all you got to fix, and you will be a much better line player, and I guarantee you'll raise your MMR if you fix these problems and do the things that I just mentioned and get a little better at teamfight decision making and stop stun stacking. You're going to raise your MMR by like 500. Guarantee it. That'll be a huge difference. And just general who to use my disable on and during teamfight things will make a huge difference as well. If you solve all of that and get moderately better game sense, you're going to raise your MMR by like a 1,000 or something. All right. I hope that was useful. I'm sure everybody on YouTube enjoyed this because I think it was very different than most of the other coachings we did. Normally we really focus on those laning principles, but you mostly have those down. So I'm happy to focus on the other aspects of supporting that are really effective towards accelerating you. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for signing up. Sorry I made it so late. I know it's been like a week or something. But thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.